the best on the patch. Probably not Talia, but she's been played a lot.
This
โอ้สวัสดีครับ
I was going to say either Silver because they have the nerve and obviously
มาแล้วครับผมสมัยครับ
final pick or actually could have even
วัน
been
นี้ได้เจอ
MF
กับ
in
พี่
this
ขี้ด้ว
situation
ย
of just rising in priority
ได้เจอกับ
quite
พี่
heavily. We're seeing it in
Scout
solo
King
queues
N
soaring
ด้วย
in win
แล้ว
rates
ก็
right
แท
now as
ยุ
well.
ครับ
Everyone is practicing it, but because it's safe
ส
and
วัสดี
doesn't
ครั
play
บ
well in this patch in terms of itemization, gets through its lane for free. But the Sivir plus the Rise is so much both wave clear, but also insane late game damage with the front line of this Cassante and Jarvan.
Yeah, and I think the spell shield can be very valuable. Into the snare from Nico if they're going to use that to start fights, as well as the Pantheon trying to dive on top of her.
I mean, consider how much mobility this Rise is going to have already with Ghost and Phase Rush, and then the Sivir ultimate allows you to have even more playmaking when that actualizer is realized for Showmaker later on.
สวัสดีครับ
I think so much of this
Oh
game is
my
in
god
the hands
ก่อน
of
จะมา
Squash
เพราะว่า
inside Nongshim.
นั่ง
Like where he
ทำพวก
goes, what parts of the map he can impact,
แทน
because
เกา
he'll
หลี
be able to play with the Talia
ทำเอกสารเกา
around
ห
the
ลี
map
เนาะ
incredibly well.
เดี๋ยว
Can
เข้า
try
ต
to
ม
shut
ไม่ได้
down that Rise that won't have teleport
ก็
inside
เลยมา
lanes.
ใช้นิดนึงครับ
But he has to be able to make those ganks successfully. Starfall's high value because every time he misses one or fails to actually get value out of one, the pushing power will be returned in tenfold by Nongshim by D+ because they're gonna have that Sivir shoving mid. They commit a fight somewhere, it doesn't work. Like turret's gone. Rise, same situation. You're trying to play through the side lane, shut down the Cassante. Rise is pushing the other side, and I think Scout will have to be able to manage the laning phase, be able to match some of these rotations from Showmaker. That was the big trade we talked about at the very beginning of the draft. Is that Rise versus Talia?
เจอพี่
Our
คิ
best
งเกม
performing
ด้วยครับ
Talia against Showmaker's Rise right now. My money's kind of on Showmaker, but that's what this series is all about, right?
Yeah.
Had two easy opponents. Let's see what happens when he plays against another world champion in Scout.
Yeah, I actually think that if this was just the drafts and I was looking at them, I'd be like, well,
คิดว่าใครชนะระหว่าง
Nongshim easily
น้อง
win
ชิม
this,
กับ DK
or Red Side team wins
ได้
this.
ได้อันนี้อันนี้แบบไม่รู้จริงว่ะ
How powerful
เพราะว่า
champions are.
น้องชิมเนี่ยล่าสุดก็
Yeah, happy when Wolf is on the desk, by the way.
ก็ตบ
that
Power
we get
Light
a toilet issue. This is Korea, so he is very young.
ส่วน
It's a
DK
very
เนี่ยฟอร์มเขา
early
ดี
time
จัด
for him.
แต่ว่าเขา
I think
ก็อาจจะ
he can
พู
be
ด
let
ง่าย
off
ๆ
the
คือ
hook.
อาจ
He
จะ
gets
เจอเด็ก
one,
หรือเปล่า
okay?
เจอหมู
We
มา
can give him one. If
เจอหมู
this
ก็เลยกินหมู
means that like Lucid goes to the bathroom as
เพราะ
well
ว่าเจอ
immediately
โบร
afterwards.
เจอดีน
D+
ซูเปอ
were
ร์
the chosen
ที่ก็ฟอร์ม
ones.
ยัง
They
กระ
were
ท่อน
the
กระแท่น
ones
อยู่
that did what you
แต่
and I
ว่า
may
นง
speculate
ชิม
were
เนี่ยได้พิสูจน์กับตัวเองแล้วว่าชนะ
completely
ฮาวอะไรมา
different.
2-0 ไม่ธรรมดา
The PM return
เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ย
toilet issue like where it was used
แต่ว่า
against
ฟอร์ม
them and
กระท่อนกระแท่นอยู่
then
ครับ
okay,
ไอ้
Kanavi,
นงชิมเพราะว่า
Maurice,
เพิ่ง
you want- oh, you're back in your seat
เพิ่ง
to
ชนะ
replay.
รอบแรก
Oh, wait
แพ้
a second,
CX
it's my
มา
turn.
2-0
Oh,
เหมือน
by
กัน
the way, Wolf, chat
คือ
is
ฟอร์มก็ยัง
saying stop the gamecasters.
เรียกว่า
So,
พัฒนา
if you could just
ขึ้นมา
start it.
You want me to just go get career real quick?
Yeah, no,
เขา
chat's
ก็
just
พัฒนาอยู่
decided
อะ
that we're starting without him.
แต่ว่า DK ฟอร์มมันดี
We're
อะ
just they're on a timer. You know, they got to get to work or something like that. What is it that you've got to do? Are we zooming in on the water?
เพจแบงลง จริงเหรอ
Oh no.
เฮ้ยโมบายเลเจนด์แบงเขาไม่ลง
Oh,
ที่
yeah,
วะ
that is 2/3 or less full right now. Absolutely.
You know what? Like, my coffee
Oh,
is
จบแล้ว
actually
ไม่
sitting
มี
at about
คือจบ
1/3
แล้ว
left as well. But you know what? I went right before the
I've
cast.
got
Imagine
a
that.
full bottle of water. I am ready to be so hydrated. Look at this.
You can't see.
Oh,
I'll
dude,
cover
พี่
a
บวง
little, but you can't see
Yeah.
any coffee in here because I've drank so much
Nope.
of it.
And
ไฟ
you
พี่
can
บวง
tell there was coffee in there because you could see the residual coffee
Yes.
around the edge.
But you know
so
what?
there that
As
is.
I told you right before I came up here, which by the way was all
Teddy.
the way before the pre-show,
It was.
I'm going to the bathroom before the cast. I'm gonna go to the
He
restroom
did
real
say
quick.
that. He did say
If
that.
you know where if you're wondering where I am.
มาแล้ว
All right, get up
there
there,
he
Korea. Let's
is.
go.
Welcome
you got
back,
a game to play.
Korea.
You got to keep that streak going. Let's do
All
it.
right. And that is his last toilet issue that he'll ever have for his entire career. Okay.
เขาหาบ้านฟ้าพี่ไปเจอป่ะไม่น่าบ้านฟ้าไม่น่า
Like the
ไม่น่า
rune
อยู่แล้ว
issue last time around aftershock Nami, I'm actually more okay with that.
Oh, me too. Mainly because it won, and so that means the stats for Aftershock Nami are kind of absurd.
เดี๋ยวพี่จะรอเพจโลบอกอะ
Okay.
โลบอกลง
This
เลย
means
พี่จะ
that
ไป
we
เล่นโล
are
บอก
now going to be loading up onto the
พี่จะ
rift.
ไปแกล้ง
Here
เด็ก
we
ใน
are,
โล
ladies
บอก
and
แล้วก็
gentlemen.
รอ
A
เพ
bit
จ
of
โล
a
บอกลง
reminder of what our drafts look like with the Cassante into Rumble towards that top side of the map. Could be a little bit scary if you're a Shiyu fan, but Nongshim, they've got a good draft, but they have to play it well. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for our very first game of the week and of the day.
ไปสนามบินกี่โมงครับ เดี๋ยว6 โมงเย็นไปครับ ก็อีก 3 ชั่วโมงไปครับ ก็เดี๋ยวดูคู่นี้จบแล้วก็น่าไปสตรีมครับแล้วเดี๋ยวเจอกันครับ เจอกันที่
And I think
ไล
it's
ฟ์ที่
because
เกาห
the
ลี
animations are nicer for a lot of people, but it's kind of interesting that we just always get that one.
Feels like we always get this Cassante skin as well.
Yeah, I like that one. It's a lot of pretty colors, and I'm into that. Sponge is going to walk over a ward
We
as
also
he starts the enemy Raptors.
Always get this Sivir, but it's the correct choice.
Oh, it absolutely is. Pack Sivir is always the one. Still looks cool even after a remake, which I was very happy with. Because I think I bought that skin off eBay years ago.
It has like the I don't know how to put it, but like when the old skin looks
นี่ไป
super
เอง
kind
ค
of
รับ
janky and blocky and like it was like
พี่
this
เจร
skin
บิ
is
ที่สุวรรณ
old.
ภูมิปะ
I feel like it doesn't look as
สุวรรณภูมิ
much
ครับ
like that now, but they still kind of nailed the aesthetic of like even though it's a new rebuilt skin, it still has a little bit of that like jaggedness to it.
Yep.
I think they did a really good job.
I'm into it, especially because it kind of looks old Tron vibed, which is why it's so awesome. And Tron is, an 80s video game, so it does make a fair bit of sense that it's going to hold onto a bit of the jam.
Lambo
Sponge will just be full clearing.
เป็น first tie ครับเล่นเจอ
Same thing to be
Cassante
said for Lucid, so we have
ก็
some
ฟาร์มเงินไปครับ
top heavy and bottom heavy sides of the map for Nongshim and
แล้วก็ไม่เอาเผาไปด้วย
for
คือ
DK.
เผาไม่เข้าก็เลยช่างแม่งแล้ว
Lethal Tempo Ezreal, which has been very popular recently, coming through, as well as the first strike Rumble, no Ignite though, which has been.
แต่จริงพี่เริ่มคิดแล้วว่าถ้าเราไม่เอาเผาไปเราเกตเตอร์ลิงสตอมไปน่าจะแจ่ม
Don't
ก
tell
ว่า
Huni that Kingen hasn't taken the Ignite. Especially when you get a free teleport.
He's gonna lose his mind if he finds out
Oh,
about
man.
เมื่อวานไปได้กับลุงจีด
No
ระเบิด
one
ระเบิด
messaged
อีกแล้ว
Or do.
27 นาที
I'm
แพ้
missing. All right, we do have Lucid making his way towards his top side of
ยั
the
งไม่ได้
jungle
แบบ
now.
30 นาที
Full clear is almost complete here for Sponge. Pretty quick on the Pantheon so far. As here in the bottom lane, Lahens and Taeyeon going very aggressive onto Korea, taking a lot of damage. Good boomerang blade to offer a little bit back there from Smash, whose health bar is still quite high. They've got some hot cocoa they can be eating, so it should be all right here. As man, this is an old matchup.
Yeah,
good old Bard into Ezreal.
Very classic. The Nico is winning out for the time being. Lahen's getting a lot of chip damage done. As Pantheon pretending like he's about to Grand Starfall, but he's just recalling angrily. He's level 4, don't worry guys.
The animation is very fun.
The observers almost look like they were panicked on that one. They were like, is he going in? No, he's just going back home.
And also both junglers leaving before the crab, which just a bit of a gentleman's agreement there on the halving.
Showmaker's stats, by the way, I mentioned his insane CS. He is currently 3rd right now in terms of top 5 CS per minute. He's actually behind only his teammate Smash, who has the highest, and Gumayushi. He's actually ahead of Ruler. He has been farming like an insane person.
ครับพี่ดูแข่งคุณนี่จบพี่ลงเลย
And like
Every
AD
other
carries
mid
farm the
laner as
most.
well
พี่
is it's
พี่
Rise
โหลดหนัง
stats.
ไปดูบน
Rise
พี่อย่าลืมโหล
seems
ด
to
หนัง
be
ใช่ไหม
farming the most.
Exactly. So Showmaker getting his hands on this one again is somewhat concerning.
กำลังคิดอยู่ครับ
See how this game does go, because being able to farm and get the most CS
เวลาเป็นอย่างนี้ที่ไรจะนึกถึงว่าทำไมเราไม่ซื้อ Gaming Handheld ไว้วะ
fastest big spike
แล้วน่ามี
late
hand
game damage.
ฮะ
So I am going to
พี่
be
เปลี่ยนมัน
keeping my eyes
ยื
on
มไม่
that
ได้
one as looking for an aggressive trade here as Lucid comes over.
Yeah,
Oh.
too many 1v1s happening here as Scout is down relatively low. Sponge and Lucid still fighting it out with Showmaker rotating over. Does mean that, oh, never mind. Going to get shoved back here as now Sponge. Possible stun angle, and that is going to mean the flash has to be employed here by Showmaker.
Really unfortunate for Showmaker that he has to flash there, but I think he played that super well. Gets the root there on the Sponge as he
ไป
flashes
รูท
away,
ก่
so
อน
he
แล้ว
knows he
ค่อย
cannot be
เราค่อย
stunned
แฟ
there
ด
by a
ด้วย
flash
พวกเรา
stun coming in from Sponge. And ends up being safe as a result, but does not feel very good about what he had to do in order to do so. It's all on Scout though, seeing the angle there, Showmaker going around that wall, hits the shove at the exact right moment.
It's a bit cute as well with Lucid moving up towards the Krug camp on the top
ถ้าคิงเงิน
side.
รูนี่ตายเลยนะ
Damage here onto Kingen as Shio finds
Ôi,
himself a
Kingen đồn
nice
nó à?
little trade. But Lucid's just going to vacate. And Sponge going to waste a little bit of time here. Moving towards his
Spawn
Krug
don't
camp
raid.
that does
Let me
not
do that.
exist. As the Wolves are going to be taken here by Lucid on the other side. So
It's like
a little bit of
mild
a jungle advantage.
Mild existence of the one mini Krug that was left behind.
Ah, yeah, true.
That doesn't delay the camps anymore though.
Yeah, we could say that it's denial, but it's not. It's just not how that one works. Staying down relatively low, as we can see here in this lane, but
ที่ยิปขอแก้เครียดระหว่างสอบตอนที่สอบวิวัฒน์นะครับตอนนี้เหมือนหัวจะระเบิดแล้ว
It's currently 5 CS ahead, but will not be after that one does come on through.
Quiet early game here, despite the fact that we have 2 junglers that have incredible impact early. It was just Scout's shove that gave us a potential moment there where we could have had a kill. but it's a summoner gained.
มันยากจริง
Will go down here. It looks like in the
คือนั่งนึกแล้วแบบว่า
bottom
คือถ้าเกิดสมมติคนไม่จำข้อสอบเข้าไปนะในยุคพี่อ่ะแม่ง
pretty
ทำไม่
much
ทัน
dead even across the
แม่ง
board.
ต้องจำข้อสอบเข้าไป
Small
เว้ย
lead for Kingin.
พี่ว่า
Mid lane pretty much
การสอบแบบ
dead
นี้
even.
ไม่
Bottom
เวิร์ก
lane
สัก
dead
นิดเลย
even with that plate going over.
บางคนสอบแล้วก็
Very quiet
ข้อสอบเปลี่ยนไปเรื่อยๆแล้วว่ามีโจทย์ไม่ได้เยอะมาก
Yeah. The only difference, of course, is Showmaker's flash being on cooldown. So Sponge spotted here on this Raptor camp, and could potentially be dangerous. And that's why you see Showmaker hugging the turret for the moment. And so right now with Nongshim having a bit of tempo on the map, Lucid down towards his bottom side to protect his bottom lane.
There's a bit of a butterfly effect from that lost flash, right? And the fact that Sponge is so deadly, even though Lucid has level 6 a little bit faster here, doesn't necessarily matter. They just do not want to play aggressively because of the Weaver's Wall potential when Showmaker doesn't have prio. So for once, we actually get to see it, Talia, even without pressing R, get value out of the Weaver's Wall that she's holding here. Scout is just constantly applying that pressure. That shovel is massive, and now the bottom lane feels very free to be aggressive. You can see Sponge as well, putting that pressure on in the jungle. Has a lot of deep vision set up, so Showmaker's lost flash doesn't look like anything in the gold graph right now, but it really is impacting the bottom side of the map quite heavily.
Yep. We can see now as well.
พี่ไม่เคยเล่นทารยาเลย
There is Scout moving towards the bottom side. Is actually recalling them in that brush.
คืออยากกระบุ้งกระเบื้อง
Considering moving on over, the top side of the map has now respawned, and he will be
มีคอนเทนต์ตก
contesting
เครื่อง
this
โชว์
red
ครับ
buff.
พี่
Sponge stole his away
พี่
though.
ไปกี่ชั่วโมงอ่ะ
And so now Lucid will be able to find him here, level
บิน
6
4 ทุ่ม
for
พี่
the
ว่าจ
job.
ริงๆแล้วอ่ะ
Could mean that he
ควร
will
ถึ
be
ง
able to win a
2 ทุ่ม
fight up against Sponge, but he hits 6 now off that
หมายถึงว่า
one
เลท
little
สุดๆอ่ะ
raptor. And now's the
เล่น
realm
สุด
walk
อ่ะ
coming in. There's the knock up onto
Spawn โดน
Sponge. As Showmaker turns up, Cataclysm onto Sponge. The flash out from Lucid to try and keep him alive.
ไม่ไหวว่ะ
And Showmaker is now looking for a temper.
โอ้
And that's going to interrupt the ulti escape. And Sponge
Carrier
is
รู้
dead. Korea moves over and will be able to help grab that first blood for Showmaker. Beautifully played here by D+.
Yeah, this is a huge win for D+.
สมัยต้องโดนแล้วว่ะไม่โดน
again before the Talia can get anything done with her Weaver's Wall.
แล้วโรมมิ่งแบบชิวๆแบบเลนล่างก็ไม่ได้อะไรด้วยครับ
This is a weird battle here, right in the jungle, where you don't want to use your cooldowns, but Sponge ends up using the stun early. So this is, I think, the call for
ตรงนี้
Showmaker to
เสีย
go
ดาย
right
ตรงที่ว่า
There's nothing he can do
ส
here.
เกล
He's
ไม่ได้ไปยก
constantly
ไม่มี
CC. Then the flash away from Lucid is fantastic here, and then Showmaker helps set it up. Ghost comes out. The Tempered Fate denies the ultimate.
ตรงนี้ได้โชว์เมเกอร์
Well, now Showmaker's dead. Okay. Just barely didn't have his flash up
เอ๊ะ
and
อ๋อ
available.
ก็คืออันติ
I did
ส
wanna
เกล
say
มา
as well, the cosmic
เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวนะ
finding onto
สปอน
Scout
อัน
was
ติไปด้วย
really
เหรอ
beautiful from Korea to then set up for the Tempered Fate interruption. So playing that one very well was the support. Gets that roam first. As Pop wasn't going to connect onto 2. Here towards the
Smash
bottom
โดน
side. Barrier from Smash.
แต่
Is
ว่า อั
trying to help
น
out
ติส
here.
วน
Is
แล้ว
on
จะ
the hunt.
อุ๊ย
Gives them that
โอ้โห
extra
ไท
movement
ยูน
speed. They're
คิว
not
ไม่โด
quite
น
able
ส
to
แมั
lay
ตะ
in
กี้
the damage. And so
สุด
just
ขอบ
going to soften them up here underneath the turret. Oh, just barely missed that
That's
one.
the worst feeling ever. But ultimately, I think he's going to be okay with it.
Yep. And also, speaking of ultimately things, it's completely even as far as farm is concerned. We're going to have a look at how Showmaker died. Oh, caught napping. I believe Scout may have just a little bit of a starfall. The double globals being a little problematic. Showmaker has nowhere to go.
Yep. Thought he was safe recalling that far away, but ultimately not. Nobody died up here. Looked a little bit suspicious when we panned back to it, but it's just going to be a
ตอน
Cassandra
พี่กิฟ
shown
เล่น
back
พี่
up.
คิดว่า
King
มือ
of the
คิดบอก
flank
ไง
of
นะ
that plate.
คิวเรียหรือ3
It
คิว
should
เรีย
mean,
หรือนิ้วก้อยไว้
as this game goes on as well, Shiu is going to be feeling a whole lot better and
เหลือ
better.
นิ้วก้อยไว้แล้วก็นิ้วโป้งที่สเปซ
Things like this to get that extra magic resist. And then Kingin is going to have a fair bit more trouble trying to take
แต่ว่า
him
ไม่ได้ดี
down.
ที่สุดนะอย่าเอานิ้วพี่ไปใช้แล้วดูนิ้วเฟเกอร์ดีกว่า
Kind of go off.
คือเขาจะ
really that much of a fan in 2025. คือ
มันจะมีวิธีคือถ้าเกิดจะถ้าเกมเนี้ยมันเป็นเกม information แล้วจริงๆแล้วอะหลายๆครั้งอะเราจะรู้สึกว่าแบบคือถ้าเราเล่นแบบตั้งใจเล่นแบบมากๆอะมันเป็นเกม information ที่เราถ้าเรารู้ information เยอะๆเราจะเก่งมากๆเลยเว้ยคือถ้าเราเข้าใจว่าโอเคป่าเลนล่างสถานการณ์ทุกเลนเป็นยังไงอะเราแม่งเราแบบโหดมากคือโดยสรุปก็คือเราต้องกดในตัว F1 F2 F3 อะไรเงี้ยไปดูเลนอื่นมันจะดีมากดูแบบสลับดูแบบไม่ต้องเร็วแบบเฟกเกอร์ก็ได้ค่อยดูอะไรเงี้ยดูว่าป่าจบข้างบนป่าเราจบบนแล้วเป็นยังไงบ้างโดนเวทยังไงอะไรเงี้ยบนไหวไหมล่างเทไหมถ้าเราอยู่กลางเราควรทำอะไรมันจะแบบแผ่มันมาเรื่อยๆ
It'll be
และนั่นก็คือ
wind and fire
สำคัญ
to start things off here.
แต่ว่ามันก็จะเหนื่อย
Okay, just need a mountain Drake. We can start off
เหนื่อย
right.
นิดนึงอะ
Casante's hoping so.
พอดีก็อยากเล่นเกมมันเหนื่อยอะไรขนาดนั้น
Smash and Taeun. I mean, Smash as well. I mean, you get so much movement speed by pressing on the hunt. It's kind of funny. So actually, never mind. It's going to be a mountain soul. It's not going to be a cloud because that one's already happened. I just think about
โอ้
cloud
ชอบ
soul.
สลับ
but
จอไป
every
เล่นจัมคิง
champion, it's just how I
นี่
work.
เรื่องจริง
I
เล
mean,
ย
that's what we all do. You just say it out loud. The rest of us kind of keep it to ourselves.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know. Does that mean that I'm brave or I'm just I don't have a filter? I don't quite know yet.
I don't know. You say what everyone's thinking. You're just the honest one.
Thank you. All right. Nongshim here.
Land
Try
on
and
the
keep
top.
Lehen's alive, who just pop blossoms the air, trying to keep himself up. Tempered Fate to hold him in position. There is a Pantheon potentially able to come down here, though, and he does press that Grand Starfall button. Smash going to be able to use that spell
ชิว
shield
จัด
to keep himself healthy, and it is going
แล้ว
to
ส
work
ปอนลัน
out.
ติล
That
ง
is
มาแบบ
not the way Nongshim
เซฟ
wanted
พอเหรอ
to use
คืออะไร
both
วะ
of
นะ
those ultimates.
Yeah, not really. But Lehen's
อัน
does
ติ
not
โคตร
have
เสีย
the
ดาย
flash,
สปอนไม่
so
ไม่
that
ประโยช
feels
น์เลย
pretty good.
ตะกี้มันควรจะหาจังหวะแบบสวนคืนแล้วแพดดิออนอันติลงมา
on this patch slightly, but
Yeah, also not going for the Trinity Force build. We have
Yeah.
seen that a little bit more predominantly here in the LCK.
same for Smash. It's both of them feeling that recipe cost increase, which is a big part of the nerf alongside the AD, but both can have it at the same time. Since they're both building it, not going to really feel like either of them are getting hindered by the nerf of the cost.
Yep.
And the game slows down again, right? We did have some action there on the bottom side because Lehen's got caught, air quotes, but does end up being just some ultimates down here for the side of Nongshim that can't necessarily be punished with no objectives up. And we kind of go back to the slow patch 26.1, laning,
Yeah.
chilling and getting quests done. We do have a 3-2 on that one right now, but we talked about this on Pog, so you guys should go check out the episode. Doesn't really feel like getting your quest a little bit faster in pro play usually changes the game all too much.
เรื่องไฟเยอะตอนกี่นาทีครับทรงนี้
Yeah, right now it's just, you know, support quest happening a little bit earlier, AD quest happening a little bit earlier, but I think
แต่พอเห็นเวลาแล้วช่วงเลนเฟสมัน13นาทีนี่เพิ่งเวล7เองนะ อีกเกมหนึ่ง15ละ
does get snared though, as we can see. Just not able to finish him
คือ
off,
มันแบบ
but Taeun's very scary with that first item spike.
Now the reason here, okay, hold on.
โอ้
All right, there is quest completion for Smash. We'll be able to now clear out that wave. And things should be a-okay. Able to sidestep a fair few things as well. But this turret is looking a little worse for wear.
ขอบคุณนะคุณลีดด้วยค
The
รับ
reason why we see so many supports just take heal and spam it in these types of situations, you get so much tempo if you can use it in the right moment. Lehen's gets so much value out of it there. Pushes them out of lane, it's not a plate, and are feeling really comfortable. As now all role quests complete
ซิว
here for
คือ
Nongshim.
แบบกด
Sponges
ดัน
up
คิง
here.
เกนแบบ
Yeah,
แต่ว่า
Shiu
ไม่
maybe
น่าไหวเลย
stepping a little far forward, does try and avoid some of that CC, but
Why,
he's going to get smoked. Now looking to try and turn this one as he goes all out, looking for Sponge. The rest of the team all turn up as well as the equalizer comes down. Shiu is just fine as Kingen will be able to get a kill before he dies, but it looks like Shiu will survive. So 1 for 1 here in this top side as everyone called all their mates.
Yeah. And Lehen's is back in base. Let's see if they can make a cross map happen.
อันนี้พี่อยู่เกาหลีแล้วเหรอ ไม่ใช่ครับ อันนี้
He's going to hold him in position here. Smash
ไปเกาหลีวันนี้ครับ
trying to set this one up. Massive burst damage with that boomerang blade.
ดูคู่หนึ่งก่อน
As
แล้ว
Taeun
ค่อย
does
ไป
have to flash to get himself out of there.
Not too bad here for Taeun because he does survive, but losing the flash hurts. The reason why it's not too bad is because the wave was crashing, so some farm was lost there on the other side for Smash at the same time, and he does escape. This was just Showmaker and Scout racing to join this fight here, knowing that Jarvan was rotating up. And Nongshim's defense, I think this
ไม่รู้ใช้ตีไง
played out really
ลัมโบ
well. Equalizer, not the greatest one here, but it is enough. Help trade them back 1 for 1. As the kill going over to Shiu as well, not Showmaker, which is not the end of the world.
Yep, I think Cassante getting strong probably going to be a good thing here. Showmaker has found Lehen's, and Lehen's not too happy about it, as we can see.
Feels like either Lehen's or Taeun is constantly just getting chunked out, and they're never able to really fully play together these last few moments.
Yeah, it's like one or the other, exactly right. Taeun, though, has been able to like land a fair bit in lane, things like this, keep the pressure on to Smash and Korea, who are down about 10 CS at the moment, about 450 gold, as you can see here, for this Ezreal. And this was the champion that he performed very well on in the LPL. You remember that famous play from him last year.
Yeah.
See whether he can challenge
that nobody watched live.
Well, no Koreans watch, as we know. We may have on the western side, but we're not the ones that dictate whether Taeun is visible or not. As all right, Korea down to 50%. Smash is going to try and get this wave shoved in.
He has a flank angle here, but they can collapse on him. He doesn't have realm warp, so he can't like try to sneak an angle here. So I think he just has to hard push the bottom lane, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Now it's going to force a reaction.
Yeah, Tempered Fate is available as well, so Korea can take control of this if they'd like to.
มังกรไฟด้วยครับ
Just going to send him in.
Yeah, let's see whether
ลุ
it
กเปิดแล้ว
works. Takluz comes on down. There's the Tempered Fate to hold two in position. As Scout
และแย่งไอ้เฮียโคตรแรด
Highway robbery
โคตรแบบแรดเลยแรดก๊อดโอ้โหแล้วยกลิฟต์สเกลตันก่อนดีแล้วค่อยคือกลัวมันจะแฟดหนีได้ดักเลยคือกลัวว่าโชว์เมเกอร์จะโดนไปข้างล่างแล้วแฟดหนีขึ้นไปก็เลยดักโอ้โหเจโฟครับผมคุณผู้ชมพุ่งเข้าไปขังเคเลียนติแล้วเจโฟพุ่งออกมาแล้วแย่งมังกรแล้วเดินหนีไม่มีใครตายเชดโอ้โหช็อตนี้แม่งสอนเชิงเลยว่ะสเกลรีบหลายช็อตเหมือนกัน
really sacrificing nothing for this. Showmaker has to flash, but it was very, very clean. It was a desperate situation because Showmaker didn't have his realm warp.
เอาจริงมันคงดีถ้าสมมติแบบสเกลยกโดนแล้วก็ต่อด้วยแพดิออนซีมันคงจะดีที่สุดอะแต่ว่าถ้ายกไม่โดนก็จะเป็นภาพเนี่ยซึ่งมันจะไม่ค่อยดีแหละ
Rift Herald now going to be what they're considering as Cosmic Binding does go wide, but Sponge taking a lot of damage, throws up the Aegis, and is going to be able to land that stun. Equalizer lands on top of Lucid quite nicely. Showmaker down to 50% flag and Dragon gets there as King still wants his fight, as it looks like Lucid going to be attacked, he will get taken down. Shiu now off to the side, wanting to try and grab one of these Nongshim members.
ส่วนทำไมในเมื่อสแมทได้ป้อมกลาง
This full health Cassante, who's looking pretty dangerous.
ปอนมีอันตีอยู่อาจจะให้เพื่อนไปบวกเดี๋ยวเก็บมีดเสร็จปุ๊บแล้วอันตีมาจับไม่ได้เขารู้อยู่แล้วครับปล่อยดิไม่ปล่อยเหรอ
Really, it's actually so fun. So they basically, like I was saying before, okay, hold on,
จะแกงล่างโชเมเกอร์ยกโดนสเกล
Scout gave him no choice.
Showmaker's face on the player cam as well. Going like, desperate realm warp does not work out. I think he knew it was a pipe dream with both the Pantheon and the shove coming. Tried to kind of play around it and still ultimately just couldn't utilize it. So dies and loses realm warp.
แคเรียไม่ใช่เคเรีย ต้องเมมพูดแล้วตอนเนี้ยแคเรียกับเคเรียคือเมื่อก่อนแคเรียมันได้หมดไงตอนนี้มันต้องแบบแคเรียเคเรีย
And DK, like you chose this.
Yeah, they certainly did. They didn't have enough damage down there to end up getting the kill, the punish there onto Scout, despite committing the
สเกลเลือกว่าดีเดี๋ยวเพิ่งจะได้เมื่อกี้ช็อตเมื่อกี้ก่อนหน้าได้งงอยู่เลย
flash for Jarvan and Rise having flash at 2020, so you guys need to keep better track of the summoner spells. So just a moment of commentary there. Moving into this fight here, very deep aggression without proper setup here. Showmaker ends up being the target.
ตันแล้วก็อีโฟเลเซอร์แบบ
Smash wasn't here.
คือเอาง่ายว่าคนที่โดนตันแล้วอีโฟเลเซอร์แช่คือมันจะไม่ได้สวนแล้วมันต้องหนีก่อนอย่างเราต้องหนีออกมานิดนึงซึ่งการหนีมานิดนึงมันก็ทำให้ DPS มันดรอปแล้ว
turn that into an exchange in the mid lane despite losing the Herald and losing the fight.
เกมนี้ได้เกิดสมมติแบบว่าดาเมจไม่เข้าผิวก็คือวาร์ปได้
he does make it out, had a shield from his Rooken, so obviously the threaded volley not going to be too much of a worry here. Control board goes over.
ถ้าเป็นเมื่อก่อนพี่คิดว่าแพ้แล้วฝั่งนองชิมเพราะว่าเอสเบียลไปเจอเคซันเต้ไม่น่าไหวแต่ว่าแพทนี้พี่ว่ามันได้อยู่นะ
Korea has to get the heck out of there, and Scout with now free reign will be able to get even more money from this turret. Smash tries to do the same, misses a cannon unfortunately, as we do have Shield on that bottom side at the same time. Lucid makes his way out, looking a bit worse.
แต่จริงอยากให้ไลออดเขาปรับให้เกมมันไวกว่านี้คือหมายถึงว่าเลนบนได้เลนเอ็กพีได้เงินไวกว่านี้เอ็กซัพพอร์ตก็ได้อะไรไวกว่านี้มันน่าจะสนุกดีนะ
And you know those CS numbers for him, the average I think is
ที่ว่า
going
ตอน
to
นี้
go down
มัน
quite
แบบ
heavily
XP มัน
after
ก็ยัง
this
ไม่ได้ไว
game
มาก
as
อ่ะ
he is just like we've seen Faker in this position before, just kind of having to sit in this brush and wait for waves because when you don't have teleporters rise, if you die you cannot join
เขา
objective
ต้องกล้า
fights
เสี่ยงนะ
so
แบบว่า
you
การ
know you
ที่
have
จะ
your
เอาโหม
realm
ด
warp you have
ที่
ghost
คนเล่
you
น
can run
ชอบอยู่แล้ว
places
แล้วแบบ
very
ปรับให้มัน
quickly
แบบ
if you die like
นู่
there's
นนั่น
no
นี่
okay I died so start dragon and I'll TP over there like you normally have as a mid laner so you have to be very careful. Lucid shadowing here at the top side because he needs that third item desperately and he is nowhere near it. Significantly behind
บนไวกว่านี้
Scout
ร่าง
at
ระ
the
เบิด
moment. They are going to at least push
พี่ติด
Scout
แบ
off
งแบง
this
มา
turret
ไม่
and
พี่
force a big
ก่อนจะไปเล่นแบง
rotation.
แบงอีก
Yeah, Crystalline Overgrowth
คือตั้งแต่พี่เล่น
helping
แพ
out
ท
here
แพท
as
นี้
well as
ครั้ง
now
แรก
King
อ่ะ
possibly
คือใน
getting
หัวภาพ
engaged
พี่
on
มัน
by
เป็นอีก
Shu,
แบบ
but
หนึงอะ
avoids the Q
ตอนที่
very
เขาบอกว่า
nicely.
เลนบน EFT
Still
จะ
looks
ไว
like
ขึ้น
Shu's gonna be
แล้ว
pretty
ก็แบบ
comfortable here with a
เล
lot
เว
of
ล 20 ได้
matches
พี่
now
คิดว่า
built
เชี่ย
up.
อย่างงี้แม่งแบบ
Does
ไว
mean
มากแน่
Tane
นอน
does do a fair
เล
bit
น
of
ล่างจะรวย
damage to him, and Sponge can also get some work done, but they're not exactly the greatest champions at cutting down
อะไร
tanks.
อย่างนั้นนะ
The only
โดยเฉพาะ
real
ป่าที่เขาบอกว่าจะได้แคมป์แล้วมันจะดูทุกคนดูจะรวยขึ้นแต่มันก็ overall เงินก็
is Scout, right?
ไม่ได้อะไรขนาดนั้น
This game still feels relatively playable here for D+. It's Ocean Soul. They're just going to give up a single dragon here and trade for what looks like eventually a turret for Showmaker. If you're Showmaker, you're like, this is the only play, right? Just sit and farm, scale up. We do have a lot of damage later on. We have a really, really robust front line. He safely realm warps out to make sure he doesn't get caught by a Weaver's Wall play.
Oh, speaking of being caught, Sponge now moving down towards his bottom side. There is no turret. And so Sponge going to miss the Q,
โดนคิว
but I think he's still
แล้ว
going
เว
to
ส
have
คิว
to flash, yeah.
แล้วไม่โดนด้วยโอ้ my
Lucid
god
was
สปอน
there, but they didn't really like that 2v2.
There was a lot of
คือโยน
missing
คิว
vision on
แบ
the
บ
map, which is why I think
ค่า
Showmaker
สแต็ก
decided to
ไม่
realm
โดน
warp out there. And I think they thought there was going to be a collapse from really far away with Grand Starfall and Weaver's Wall on the top side. Showmaker was like carefully like, cool guys don't look at explosions taking that turret out, but they went for Shio on the bottom side instead. Without using their global ultimates, Showmaker now down his, but did get that critical gold in exchange for the dragon. You can see that puts a small dent in the gold difference over time here. But time, speaking of, is what D+ really need in this game. They just don't want any more disasters, any more bad fights before then. And that's why Nongshim should start to put their eyes on this Baron and start to threaten some Baron takes here so that they can solidify their 3,000 gold. They turn that into a one game here, because if given a significant amount of time, D+ could definitely play this one very close.
Yeah, this is the thing. As Smash gets item after item, right? Already the 2-item spike of the Essence Reaver Infinity Edge is quite large. But on 3 items, the Sivir really becomes dangerous. We'll see whether Taeyun is going to go for the double tier. I think with Essence Reaver, it's a little bit more common, but looks like he's not going
คือ
there
พี่ว่า
this
ป่า
time. Just
ป่า
gonna be
คนเนี่ย
going
ที่
for a
พี่บอก
little
คน
bit
ได้
more of
แต่
a
พี่ว่าเขาคง
classic
ปรับแหละ
regular blue
แต้มป่า
Ezreal.
คนน่าจะคิวด้วย
And see what he's going to be grabbing
มันไม่ควรจะได้แต่มอนสเตอร์อย่างเดียวเพราะป่ามีหน้าที่ที่แบบมันไม่ใช่หน้าที่ฟาร์ม
Weaver's Wall was there in exchange as teleport comes through from Shiu. Showmaker now off to the side as Scout going down relatively low. Shiu looking for the angle, gets the flash out, so Scout is going to be okay. Gets out of the tempered fate as well, but Sponge not going to be so lucky as the seismic shove does nothing at all. Kingen not even teleporting into this fight as Taeyun below 50%, able to get control of mid wave.
มันไม่เหมาะ
And Kingen is threatening. I don't think they're going to be able to do Baron because they may just
พี่
lose
คิด
a
ว่า
large
ทุกโล
portion of
อ่ะ
their base.
ที่เขากำหนดมาในแพทเนี้ยมันแมทช์หมดเว้ยเลนบนลัดมินเนี่ยนตีเพจเลนล่างก็คล้ายๆกันเน้นเป็น XP เลนกลางก็เน้นทำดาเมจป่าซัพพอร์ตเน้นปักหวาดคอนโทรลวาดรีวอร์ดมาแล้วนะแต่ว่าป่าแม่งแบบเหมือนเน้นให้ฟาร์มอ่ะมันไม่ได้หรือเปล่าอยากให้มุมมองป่ามันเปลี่ยนไปหน่อยอยากเล่นอารมณ์แบบฟิดเดิลสติ๊กแล้วไปยืนแอบแบบเซอร์ไพรส์บ้างอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
And it's just not a playable fight. That's why Kingen doesn't TP in, because he's like, that just does not look like a
ถ้าคิวได้แต้มจะวนไม่อยู่เลยนะพี่แต่ถ้าเกิดวนแล้วไม่ได้ไม่ได้ฟาร์มเลยนะมันก็รีวอร์ดแบบนั้นเนี่ย
As the gold still remains relatively the same, as we're not actually seeing Actualizer third for Showmaker, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like he needs the Zhonya's, yeah. I don't blame him for that. Allows you to avoid things like the seismic shove relatively well. As now, Boomerang Blade going to be avoided. Double buffs onto Smash. Very close to the 3rd item as well. See what it is going to be. Could be just a Phantom Dancer for a little bit more defense, as Tempered Fate does get the dash cannon out of Lahen's. I like that Korea's looking for them, but like you say, it is a large cooldown.
Okay, I mean, we're posturing for Baron. The Dragon is up in 80 seconds here. Scout is constantly threatening angles.
Yep, and King
แต่เขาคงคิดแล้วแหละเพราะมันแบบการที่ให้แบบสมมติป่ามันต้องเก็บ40ไข่40ใช่ป่ะแล้วแบบมาให้คิว1อะไรเงี้ยมันก็คงแบบเฮ้ยดีป่ะวะมันจะเร็วไปป่ะวะคือมันสโนว์บอลแรงจนแบบป่าแบบสมมติว่าแบบมึงมีไฟสเกอร์มิดรอบนึงแล้วป่าแบบใช้สกิลแบบบึ้มแล้วแบบได้แอสซิสต์5ตัวอย่างเงี้ยได้มา5สแต็กเลยแล้วแบบสมัยขึ้นขั้นในขั้น2แล้วอ่ะแม่งก็คือแบบเอาทีได้เลยโหดมากอะไรเงี้ยนะ
And even picks like the Rumble in these extended fights will get a decent amount of value out of it.
มันคุมเทมโปป่าไม่ได้เว้ยในแง่ของการคิดแบบเราก็คิดมันก็มันน่าจะเป็นแบบนี้นะแต่ว่าเทมโปป่ามันเสียเลยถ้าจะทำมันต้องปรับแบบไอตัวไข่ป่าใหม่หมดเลย
And now Realmwalk is going to come on forward. Showmaker ignores it as Scout makes his way down. That is going to be a missed seismic shove though, so that should mean that Shiu will survive and holds onto the flash. Smash now.
คือต้องปรับแบบป่ามีแต้มรีเจนแต้มเจนป่าในป่าด้วยเหมือนทุกเลนมันมีหมดอ่ะมีแต้มเจนใช่ไหมอันนี้ก็มีด้วยสแมทอีควอไลเซอร์มาแต่ว่าไม่เป็นไรครับ
And he has himself some hot waiting for him on the other side.
Smash is like, what? Thanks, guys. I also got the turret, by the way.
Yeah.
And now they can actually look for a real contest here. TP back.
แล้วไม่มีอีควอไลเซอร์ด้วยลัมโบสกิลที่ดีที่สุดแบบนี้นี่มาอีกแล้วตายก่อนเลยครับตรงนี้เลแฮนสปอนแย่งไม่ได้เลือดแบบมังกรเหลือ1เสียบาลอนอีกหน้าจีแล้วนงชิมน่าจะไปเสียอีควอไลเซอร์อะไรก็ไม่รู้ว่าคุยอะไรกันวะไม่มีใครรอใครเลยอ่ะสเกลไม่รอแพทติออนสตันลัมโบอันตีใส่ซิลเวอร์ที่แม่งกดอันติแล้วก็ไม่ได้คือมันไม่มีใครออกลายอยู่แล้วอ่ะลัมโบอ่ะแต่ว่าถ้าตรงนี้สามารถที่จะอุ๊ยสวยว่ะกลายว่าสเกลมาสวยช็อตนี้สปอนแทยูนดูสิออกมาค่าแทยูนแล้วทุกคนโลหมดเลแฮนมาช่วยแต่ว่ากินเงินไม่มีเฟดดูสิมาแล้วผมจึงโอเคก็ไม่เสียบาลอนแต่ว่า3ชีวิต
This is I think for Nongshim the best that could have gone and it's all about that shove from Scout but going back to this play here there's just such a big disconnect between Lahens who wants to try to punish her looks like maybe even initially
ไม่มีอีควอไลเซอร์ถ้ามีอีควอไลเซอร์แล้วโยนใส่แบบสแมทซีวูอย่างนั้นแหละพี่ว่าทำให้ซีวูไม่ทำให้สแมทอาจจะเลือดลดเยอะมาก
But actually, it still gets caught by the shove as they are doing better.
กลับมาอีกรอบครับ
Oh, Lahens did that thing where he died in the river because that led to a victory last week against Life Esports. This time around, though, it won't lead to a victory, I don't think, because now DK will take Baron for free, and that is going to be all 5 members with the buff.
D+ turning this game around.
Honestly, like, the way this is being played, though, Wolf, in this later stage of the game has just been beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Maybe not this part, but...
Well, I mean, I was more talking about DK. Lahens doing Lahens things is not something that we ever discount. But there is a knockback. Oh, Shiu just picks him up, throws him back into the team, but the equalizer goes down. Sponge, the first one to die here, is now Lucid in the back line. Looks for Taeyun, the wall comes in, but Shiu is already down. And so 1 for 1 as Showmaker has said I will use my buff to destroy their stuff.
He built Shadow Flame by the way. We kind of thought he was going a little bit more defensive. He was going a different way.
I like that.
And I mean considering the enemy composition and also
แพทนี้ลัมโบมันเอารูนเฟิร์สไฟมาแล้วก็ไอ้แคชแบ็กมาแล้วแบบขึ้นลิมเมเกอร์อยู่นะรวยแต่ว่าทำไมสกอร์ไม่ดีเท่าจนก็ไม่รู้งงเหมือนกันคือลัมโบอ่ะพี่ไปเล่นมาแบบพอมีเงินมันกลายเป็นว่ามันถ้ามันจนกว่าถ้ามันรู้สึกว่า KDA มันน้อยกว่าเดิมมันควรจะเก่งขึ้นปะแต่สุดท้ายแล้วมันดูแบบดูกากขึ้น
getting significant
มัน
value
แหลม
here.
แรงแล้วหิว
Another minute and a half
อันนั้น
actually
ใช่
on the buff.
Yeah, I mean, like these
นิ
turrets
โกะอัน
are
ติแป๊กหลายร
still
อบ
up
บิ๊
like
กแคส
this. You know, inner turret in the bottom lane is full plates. We're not threatening inhibitors
ส่วนห
necessarily
นึ่ง
on
ด้ว
this
ยก็
push,
ดาบนั่นแหละ
but
ดาบ
the
มัน
money going
มั
to
นก็
this Sipper, who you mentioned the Flicker Blades now has the Bloodthirster online as well. I mean, she's just so safe.
Oh, Scout though, that is a big pickup. Does have Magic Pen and now a Death Cap. So this Talia is going to be doing damage. Throws down the wall now, looking for an angle towards Showmaker, who's going to be that first target. He does have the stasis though from Korea, whose bot has been so good today. By the way, into the backline goes Shiu. They do take down the Rise. As now Lucid and Shiu just trying to keep the rest of them at bay. Smash now needs to be wary of Sponge, so we will be taking him down first. And Shiu just kills Kingen. Where the heck did that come from? It's Korea. Lucid, I don't know about that one.
โอ้เอาลูซิดโยนหน่อย
But he is still going to die. There is the cosmic binding onto Tay and Korea. You need to be careful of those magical journeys when your friends are around, because they may take them and they may die.
Career himself, though, like you mentioned, has had an incredible game. Who needs Zonias when you've got the bar?
Yeah, exactly.
As we'll watch this again, it almost feels intentional. The way they set this up, Career's
สเกา
able to
แบ
get
บ
over the
วอล
wall
ไป
here, protect Showmaker,
อันตียัง
and
สวยเลย
then they just front to back here with Smash. Lens gets taken out first, and Shiu
บอล
just
แฟดไป
runs
ฆ่า
into the backline at level
เลแฮนแม่ง
18.
โดนลูซิดขังแล้วมันก็ตายไปเลย
Brick wall. Then eventually
ที่
we
เงิน
go
ไม่
a
มี
bit too deep. A bit
ไม่
too
ไหว
deep on this one. It ends up being a trade.
And a lot was used to get on top of Shiu there, but this was a bit of a misplay.
ไม่มีนาฬิกาเว้ย
There was a Talia on the other side.
ปกติแล้วลัมโบเหมือนมีกฎอยู่ว่าต้องชิ้นที่ 3 ต้องเป็นนาฬิกา แต่แบบพอรวยปุ๊บชิ้นที่ 3 เริ่มเป็นรีเมคเกอร์แล้ว แต่ว่าไม่เป็นกับไอ้นี่นะไม่เป็นกับคินนะคินชิ้นที่ 2 เลยนาฬิกาแล้วชิ้นที่ 2 นาฬิกาโหดมาก
I think they will get it.
คือเป็นแบบหน้าแหลมแล้วก็แบบรู้สึกดีนะไม่เปิดสปอร์ตด้วยแต่ว่าเลแฮน
They're all in that banana brush as Shiu just looking to try and hold on to them.
บาลอน2 นาที
And Lahen's still on a decent angle,
พ
but
ยายาม
he keeps getting
สร้างเส้นทาง
spotted
กลับ
over
มา
and over
ตรงกลาง
again.
นะ
Huge
ไม่ได้
mini wave,
ว่ะ
by the way, on the top side of the map that Nongshim does need to deal
ข้างบน
with.
กับกลางดันอ
That's
ยู่
what
ครับ
happens when you do waste a
โซ
bit of
พอยต์
time
ของนงชิน
on
มัน
the
ก็ไม่แน่เหมือนกันนะ
I say waste still was a good idea to get
เพราะว่าเมื่อกี้มีช็อตโยน
the
หน่อย
point. You can see that's a big wave now being eliminated.
Look at the wave on the top side.
แล้วโชว์เมเกอร์ไม่ได้ขึ้นในไอ้ Ashuracer
chipping away
ไปขึ้น Shadow Frame ซะงั้น
What is kind of in LCK the game state where if you don't have at this point an 8,000 gold
แบบนี้ต้องเป็น Shadow Frame ลาบาดอน Ashuracer ดีมากเลยนะเอาจริงแต่ว่าเขาอาจจะมองว่าด้วยเบิร์สพี่ว่า Shadow Frame แม่งอันเดอร์กว่าเยอะเลยคือเหมือนลองไฟมั้ง Shadow Frame จะดีกว่า Ashuracer มันเหมือนกับต้องมันเป็นแนวเบิร์ส
And so, gonna slow play this. They have insane wave clear, so it's okay to let Nongshim push into them when they have control over the map.
ที่กิ๊บมีแฟนรับแอบอยู่ที่เกาหลีนะครับเฮ้ย
Yeah, and I mean with how Lens been playing so aggressively, maybe just kind of fish for a defensive pick.
Yeah, and one of the things that needs to happen for Nongshim is these pop blossoms need to do something.
Yeah.
Lahens has not really been finding the angles here. A lot of them have been defensive, and a lot of them have just been random. So need to get it together. Make something happen here moving later on into the game. Win condition is going to be that dragon for Nongshim.
จะได้เจอซูดเฟเกอร์แล้วตื่นเต้นจังเลยซูดเฟเกอร์ดูเลินน้องเพสที่วันทั้งทีม
It is really scary to think of what
คนซูดเจอคุบายุชิ
the damage they've already done.
Oh, Tempered Fate gonna hold on to King in here. The Showmaker's moving over. Looks like they're not going to be able to do too much about this. As Taeun and Lahens were in position. So Tempered Fate now on cooldown one more time. But I do really like
พี่ไม่เตรียมข้อความเลยอะเดี๋ยวให้แชทแบบว่าโหวตใน Discord แบบมีมันทำโพลใน Discord ได้ป่ะเขียนข้อความ
He is able to sometimes get flashes, has been able to just make fights easy to play, isolate single targets.
ขอให้ตกเครื่องทีสาธุวอเตอร์ฟักทำไมเป็นคนอย่างนี้เนี่ย
That's a very large health bar.
He has Jack shows as well, so he doesn't really get hurt by things.
he's not really getting hurt by things. I'm seeing that. There's also a Gia on Smash, so he's feeling pretty comfortable as well as Lahans looks for an angle on the Showmaker.
หนักจัดเลยเลยนี่หนักทุเรศเลย
As now you've got
ทุเรศมากอ่ะ
Showmaker looks for the realm warp, gets it, and then gets into that back line. Is now Kingen looking to try and barbecue Korea. He is definitely the only one that he can really get through.
คือต้องเข้าใจว่าแบบทำไมไม่แบบเขาอยากได้แนวโป๊กๆไงอยากได้แบบได้ป่ะพี่เจอยากเขาอยากได้แบบว่าอารมณ์แบบนิโก้ SBO อะไรอย่างเงี้ยมาสู้บากแต่ว่ามันก็
And yes, Kingen just taking them on a merry chase.
I mean, Kingen's bought enough time here to where it looks like they're going to have to use the Baron to end rather than just be able to walk down as 5 and end the game.
Well, he is just going to die because you cannot just try and teleport
away
from
a
mini wave and a
ไม่ยิ้มเลยอ่ะ
But the Baron, like you say, is going to be the option instead of just straight up losing the game.
เอานะสเกลไปปุ๊บไปอัพเลแฮน
Like this
โชว์เมเกอร์แบบรออยู่แล้ว
so desperate. And it's just like Lahen's ults air, and Scout goes in, and D Plus is just like, well, okay, and then they just take the free fight afterwards. I mean, the plays from Lucid here in the follow-up, the positioning of both Smash and Showmaker to help run down these targets.
พี่เริ่มเข้าใจแล้วว่าความกดดันความไม่กล้ามันเป็นยังไงแบบความรู้สึกว่าแบบเฮ้ยกลัวจะพลาดอะเป็นยังไงแล้วน้องชิมเหมือนเวลามันจะเปิดมันมีความคิดเยอะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเราตัดภาพไปที่ทีวันเดี๋ยวเปิดภาพก็แบบแพ้อะไรเฮียช่างแม่งแบบปะเกมใหม่ปะคือไม่สนเลยทีวันเป็นทีมที่แบบช่างแม่งแบบเปิดเลยแบบไม่มีใครแบบคือมันไม่กดดันกันคือเปิดเลยเห็นแบบเกลียบปุ๊บก็เปิดเลย
That's the problem. They can see that it's doomed in HD, and it's not exactly a 4K. HD is pretty old, isn't it? It's not really a thing that we're really too worried about. As turret going to be falling down towards that top side of the map. It's just the Winions making this one happen. As the rest of DK looking to siege up bot and mid.
The top inhibitor's already under siege by minions alone, and it will go down eventually.
Yep. Korea making his way over here as Tempered Fate is going to snag onto the Nico. Lahans is trying to pop Blossom, but he's still just going to die. Korea is going to be going down as well. Both supports are dead. But these ricochets, man, are tearing Nongshim apart. And Shiu looks like he's kind of immune to damage, which is not what you want to see on the enemy team. As Rumwalp not going to be taken here from Showmaker. He just wants to take down these inhibitors, and all 3 of them just erupt
แต่กิจกรรมแรกที่ไปถึงเกาหลี
All of a sudden, it's
ถ้าใครทายถูกเดี๋ยวจะมีซื้อของมาให้
look to finish off these last couple of towers.
ให้ถามว่าคืออะไร
Scout just getting hit by
มันยากอยู่
ricochet. And he's already down to 50%. Smash throwing away these boomerangs where he can.
ไม่ใช่ไม่เอากิจกรรมย่อยๆแบบกินข้าวอะไรเงี้ยแม่แบบเอาเป็นกิจกรรมหลังจากที่แบบทุกอย่างมันแบบกิจกรรมหลักอะ
They'll have equalizer for a few more seconds.
Oh, Shiu goes in. There's a weave as well from Scout, just trying to take control of the situation. Lucid goes in, then he's out. Sponge, speaking of which, he's going to go out via the death chamber, or at least via his GA for now.
ไปหาเฟกเกอร์
being held on to here by Showmaker is on the other side of the fight. Smash is completely safe. Shiu might be taken out. Never mind. He is a mega tank, and he is not going to be dying here. As Showmaker goes
มาเป็นแบบไอ้นี่เลยพี่เจก๋วยเตี๋ยวมันมาเป็นแบบก๋วยเส้นเล็กมันมาเป็นก้อนเลย
An incredible late game performance to take it over Nongshim.
Really
จบแบบเกมแรกก็เล่นยากกว่าครับ
This season, 1 win away from going 3-0. They went 5-0 last year. Again, this is their toughest composition yet, and there's tougher to come, but
มีเฉลยพี่เดี๋ยว
you
พ
just
รุ่งนี้เฉลย
change the bottom duo here, and suddenly this just breathed new life into this roster. Showmaker individually performing better, right? You have Lucid performing incredibly well, and then Shiu is doing his job. Like, he had a really cool teleport flank, obviously, on the Cassante and that fight on the top side of the map. There's just a lot going right here for D Plus all at the right time here at the early part of this year. Showmaker was put down early, but still did way more damage than Talia because he's a rise in this game. And Smash, once he got a few of those kills, there were some donations.
There were.
And he was like, okay, I'm scaling, Showmaker's scaling. We've got great front line. We have insane engaged Lucid. Some of his Cataclysm into retreat plays to completely zone and buy space for his carries were beautiful to watch, not to mention career popping off on this board. Some of those Tempered Fates left us a little bit, scratching our heads, but the ones that mattered and team fights and objectives that mattered were phenomenal.
Yeah, and honestly, like, There are people that can play Bard and there's people that can't. It doesn't really matter how much practice you put in. Korea is a Bard player, and that is very cool to see. Another one here in the LCK. But now it's time for us to take a short break. When we get back, we are going to break that one down on the space, and then we'll have game number 2. See you soon.
ยังไม่มีใครทายถูก
งั้นถ้าจะไลฟ์
ไลฟ์ดิ
ตอนนั้นเลยใช่ปะเดิ
มเดี๋ยวหาลูกค่อยตอนจะไลฟ์แล้วเดี๋ยวที่เป็นตอนนี้เป็นไงไก่เกลือตอบถูกครับไปตัดผมครับไปทักไป
ไก่เกอร์ด้วย
ไก่เกลือทักมาได้ป่ะยังเราไปตัดผมที่เกาหลีดู
ผีฟิลเลอร์แต่ว่าหนัง
แม่ก็น่าเป็นอยู่ในดิสคอร์ดกันได้ว่าผมไก่เกอร์0707ครับในดิสคอร์ดช่องทั่วไปเดี๋ยวพี่ไปทักกับ
โอ้ยแล้วน้องคนนี้เพิ่งส่ง
แต่อะไรที่เกาหลีพี่ไปลองเข้าฟิตเนสที่เกาหลีไหมไม่ได้วิ่งลู่ครับไม่ได้วิ่งเลยตั้งอยู่นี่แต่มาวิ่งได้นะแต่ไม่ได้วิ่งเลยแต่จริงอ่ะมันก็เพิ่งเปิดฤดูกาลเนี่ยเมื่อก่อนตอนที่เราซื้อลู่วิ่งมาเราวิ่งตอนดู LCK นี่แหละคู่แบบเด็กๆอ่ะมันเพิ่งเปิดฤดูกาลเพราะฉะนั้นแนวโน้มมันก็อาจจะมีกับการกลับไปวิ่งแต่พอไปวิ่งในมอลแล้วมันชอบมากกว่าไม่ยินเหรอไม่ได้ก็เลย เป็นด้วยหรอคือยังไง
ก็ใส่กระเป๋าก็ถือ
แล้วหายแบบ
กระเป๋าแคริออนทุกเครื่อง
นี่พอเล่นแอลกับพิกเกอร์ไหมครับยากเลยเนี่ยถ้าไม่กลิ่นไหม้นี่ไม่มีนะมันซื้อสเปรย์มาพ่นได้ พอพ่นแล้วก็ไม่มี
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the space. As it was a victory here for D plus Kia, they had to battle their way back against Nongshim in game number 1. Let's break it all down. I'm here alongside Wadid and Umpty, and thankfully, Wadid, we do have a jungle specialist who has an eye for pathing that might be able to.
เป็นวิธีกับอังติ
That's true.
แล้ว
I was kind of confused about their earlier pathing, but it was really smart move from Lucid because he was reaching the level 6 first, and then I think that helped a lot in the first skirmishes, right?
Yeah, I agree. And then the first thing very interesting is like they didn't actually finish the path at the crab. So that was interesting too.
But yeah, I mean, in these skirmishes, I felt like this was one of the thing that you can already expect because you already have deep vision in the red side of the jungle as Nongshim, so you can clearly see that Bard is moving towards top side. And even though you see Bard moving towards top side, they still looking for the fight in the mid lane here.
Yeah, I think they actually thought that before the bar comes, we can fight because we are the strongest champion. But
จริงเลยแฮนนั่นเดินมา cover เนี่ย
so fast with the ulti to join the fight
เลยแฮน
he
ไม่
was
เดิน
very confident
แค่บอกว่าแบบ
this is gonna be 2v3 with a bar. So I think DK was
บาดไป
actually
นะ
very good mid jungle performance here with a teamwork, and then a little bit of misexecute, but I think
แล้วก็
DK
คือ
really played well here.
โคตรเลยอันนี้คือ
the
ระ
main
ยำเลย
point of this one is that Nongshim already knew what's gonna happen, you know.
คือ
They
ไปนิ
already
โกะก็ตามไม่ทัน
saw
อยู่แล้วบาด
Bard moving towards mid lane, and Talia was not in a
รายงานตัว
was in the not the
ได้
right
ได้
position to the fight. So
เดี๋ยวจะกันให้
I feel like it was just a misaligned call by Nongshim just in general.
Yeah, either you got to relay the information and update the game plan if you're Nongshim. Hey, this is going to be a 2v3. Let's not take this fight.
Okay.
Yep. Or you rotate earlier and pass it along. And it feels like in the second play and in the mid game, Nongshim got it together. They were able to make some very smart macro plays here through Scout.
I think Scout was actually like giga genius here because he had to go ball. So Shield thought that, oh, this is gonna be a 5v4 at the Hera fight, so I will go first. But Scout actually just passed the bot and he just go topside and giving the Rumble push. And then the Rumble is actually not feeling dangerous about it, so he can walk to the river. And then now Sponge acts like he's gonna be get engaged in. So Rushidi thinks that we are gonna be 5v4, we are gonna engage first, we're gonna win. But actually, the Rumble is coming to fast path, and the Talia is coming to. The 4v5 was for Nongshim.
So main point of this is that the Scout, he didn't really just look for the farm on the bot lane. He just gave up one wave to group first, and that ended up having a free header fight and free header at the end. So I feel like many times the mid laners just greed for the extra waves, but this time around, Scout being smart about his positioning, being smart about the tempo usage, and that's why they could win the header fight here.
Yeah, and from here, Nongshim were winning skirmishes. They were moving around the map with their very strong
ยังไม่รู้จะเขียนอะไรป้ายว่าอะไรดีเลย
skirmishes in. And
เขียนว่าอะไรดีวะ
D+
ไหน
didn't have a lot
ใคร
of
แบบ
answers
ช่วย
if
พิ
they
มพ์หน่อย
tried to go anywhere. You had double ultimates with the Talia, with the Pantheon by Nongshim to make it tough. Until here, where the Drake comes on up, and right before this, Shiu able to survive the Pantheon and Talia ult, but they opt into the fight anyways.
Oh man, whenever Lihans wants to engage, look at
มันต้องเป็น
Lucy
คำพูดอะ
jumping into the back line, and it was great usage of Bard
อ่ะ
ulti
ได้ไม่
when
ได้
Jarvan had every abilities with the cooldown. So it was really great synergy between the jungle and support in the team fight. And yeah, I mean again, I feel like their draft, the Nongshim draft was so much better than DK because I couldn't really see the plan from DK where they can fight because it was a lot
จริง
stronger
ๆ
from Rumble
มัน
and
ต้องเป็นอะไรที่แบบว่าเขาเข้าใจดิอันนี้มัน
I don't
เขาไม่
think
เข้าใจ
they
เรื่องงง
really kind of synchronized that well with their item power spike. So that's why this kind of happens at the end of the game with the value.
I mean,
Fintelli.
watching this fight, the Lucy J4 was a dream of the
เดี๋ยว
Dragon.
Yeah.
อิงได้เลยดีกว่า
Three airborne
แต่ว่าพิมพ์ไทยมาก่อน
EQ,
เดี๋ยวเขาไปแปลเป็นอิง
Baron,
ไง
I kill D0, win my Zarvan. Oh my god, this is my dream.
Yeah, and then after that, Nongshim weren't quite out of it, but you saw multiple times where they weren't quite synced on up and didn't quite work out there. Maybe something they could fix up for game 2.
I mean, again, like their draft was so much stronger. They have Azure, Nico to playmaking and for the early priority, and also top side they have Talia and Pantheon and Rumble, which is just so much stronger than the other ones. So I feel like there are so many times they just misaligned the plays. For example, Talia didn't wait for Pantheon W, and like they didn't wait for Rumble to come up earlier. So even though they had a better draft just in general, they didn't really like execute well about the draft. So that's why I felt really bad for Nongshim. But on the other hand, DK just plays so much better. Especially, I just want to spotlight Lucid once again. I feel like he's just such a veteran player in LCK.
แล้ว
right now.
ที่
All
พี่
right, well, you know,
ไป
I've
เขา
had
ซื้อตั๋วส
a
นาม
little
ให้เลย
bit too
ใช่
much
ครับ
coffee, and you know,
Let me
every
throw, hey.
game Wolves cast, there's been problems with the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. Wolf, Atlas, take it away.
เรื่องอะไรกัน
Digon, yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, you wait
After
until the
you
end.
finish
Yeah,
work.
exactly.
Yeah.
Good job, Digon. No, it's fine.
Well done. I hope you- I hope you're doing
Notice how
okay.
he held it through the whole segment?
Yeah. He actually seemed like he didn't even need to go. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like he did it like as a bit.
แม่งก็เขียน
Yeah,
DS
something
Super
like that.
Fighting
No, it wouldn't have been,
He
man.
played it off so perfectly.
Oh,
Like,
he-
it seemed like it was a bit.
Yeah.
That's how professional he is. He's like, look, I definitely don't need to go. I definitely went before. I'm just playing a
It's
bit.
weird though because he probably didn't need to say it because he was throwing anyway.
Must have been that bad.
Yeah, it must have been.
And yet
Wow.
still. he got
Sometimes
the
it
whole
comes
คือ
off
สแมน
fast,
นี่คือ
you know?
สบาย
And you
ๆชิว
realize,
ๆใน
look,
ลีกเลย
I gotta start making the move, otherwise we'll run out of
ฝี
time.
มือ
and then
และ
things
ความ
can get
เก่ง
really
คือแบบ
bad.
สบายๆเลย
Things would have gotten really bad if we hadn't have gotten into the draft, but we did. Here we are, DK now on our blue side and Nongshim with first pick. They chose that out of their right for first selection. RF,
ROFS.
ROFS,
Yeah. Otherwise, as Valdez often calls
Ruffs.
it, Ruffs. Yes.
Ruffs. Ruffs actually I'm
Lock
kind of
Solid
into.
โดนแบนอีกแล้ว
So the Ruffers this time around were Nongshim.
You could tell they were the
พี่เจพี่ใส่กับกล้องในเป่านี้ถูกป่ะ ทั้งหมดเลย
They did, and it also says first pick on the red side over there.
We
So
have
there it is.
the same bands thus far.
แต่
here.
แล้วพวกแบ
Maybe
บ
Nazir follows, but this time they'll have the Rise, so
True.
I'm a little bit puzzled by the Orianna, because now you also feel like you have to ban Azir, unless Showmaker's like, my Silas counters Azir. That was a counter pick back in the day. It's still relevant, but not
Certainly
quite.
could be some interesting picks in the mid lane if we do see like the Aria Azir banned away, which we do.
I mean-
the Renekton is taken off the board, so Yunara is up and available now.
Maybe Showmaker's feeling like he's been pulling out LeBlanc again.
Wait, first Jace? Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Like giving that to Sponge would be absolutely the wrong decision to make.
พี่ว่าถ้าเกิด
I think
จะเอา
he
เป็นมีมสุด
already
น่าจะแบบ
played it.
ถ้าทีวันแพ้
Yeah,
จะตัดผม
as well. So
อานาย
Nessa is gonna be locked
แล้วแม่ง
away
เสือกแพ้
first.
ขึ้นมาจริง
Pick.
นี่คือเหี้ยเลย
King and we know really loves the champ, but Sponge definitely no stranger to it either.
Yeah, I am kind of wondering where the direction is going
แต่
here
กูกลับ
because
บ้าน
now
ไม่ได้
Lulu's
ต้องไปตัด
stocks
วัน
are
หลัง
way up with the Sambessa pick.
Do you just Yunara Lulu? You could just straight
I
up do
think
it.
you might. Like, you could probably just go Lulu, and you could even go for like Xin Zhao if that's the jungle that you want, and then get the Yunara on 3 because they probably don't want to play it into.
Oh my goodness!
You
okay.
ban the Orianna, Azir, Jason, they can just go for Lucid's Kiana pick, which has been banned against him this tournament.
And Varus Kiana is pretty dangerous in the mid game. So I'm kind of interested to see how this one is going to go. There's the Yunara, and it could just be, okay, never mind. It's going to be the Aurora alongside it. So flexibility for the Ambessa remains, which is cool to see. But Taeyun not going to have the opportunity to play this alongside a Lulu. And it could be that D+ can take a priority support and then start banning away the other options.
Bard's gone, Nico's gone. This is not necessarily a Talia, or sorry, not Talia, a Renata angle. I don't think really into the composition here. They're just going to go for the Nautilus here for career. Because the Kiana's already locked in, we know this is not a flex. Doesn't feel terrible, but again, pretty high prio in this situation. A lot of teams would opt for a double ranged bottom lane to just get value out of Comet and push the Yunara out. Could even be Lethal Tempo Varus in this draft.
Theoretically, we haven't seen it so far yet, and hasn't been as strong on this patch, but could also be an option here. As the Braum is taken away, obviously playing Nautilus into Braum feels terrible. With the Aurora already there, we're not going to have to worry about the very sad Nautilus into a Nivea situation. As the Ahri is taken away.
Now those mid bans are starting to come through. We'll see the Ahri
LeBlanc,
first. LeBlanc, I think, will probably
Kuy
be the
Yana
next. I suppose Silas could still work here.
เหมือนจะ
They
ป่า
banned
คุย
the
หน้า
Alistair though, so perhaps a little bit less likely now.
Really interesting that they've left the Lulu up and available.
หรือว่า
I
เอเบซ่า
believe
นี่มัน
that's
คือโดนคุย
because
หน้า
there's
วะ
not a lot of engage already put together here by Nongshim. Likely that Kingen just slams a Scion so that they can still play something like a Lulu.
I think that
แต่ว่า
works,
คนนี้เขาเป็น
though,
คน
you
เล่น
know,
มาก่อน
like
เล
they
ย
end up having so much engaged with the
Lucid
Ambessa
อะ
Lulu, and the lane is so free that I just think it's warranted. LeBlanc was not a surprise to anyone. I don't think you see this ban against 90% of the mid laners in the LCK, but against Showmaker you do.
คุยหน้า
And he
เคาน์เตอร์
just
เอเบ
finally
ซ่า
puts
จริง
the
ด้วย
Zoe on the table and says, "He don't know me."
That is so much single target pick though. If this is going to be locked in, it's kind of ridiculous.
Be pretty scary to play Lulu into all this.
Certainly would be.
Not going to last very long against all this damage.
All right, Showmaker was having a little bit of a giggle, but just slams the Zoe. There it is.
CV Max was like the lock-in buttons right there.
Yeah, by the
Don't
way.
have to give us any suspense anymore.
Well, that would have been to Smash if that was the case. But still, there's the Nocturne. So that is going to confirm Ambessa in the top side of the map.
Okay.
And Leona is going to be there. So with the Nocturne lock-in, that means that there is no engage coming from the top side. And that means that Leona does actually have to happen. As let's see what the champion into the Ambessa is going to be here for Xiu. As he's cycling through some weird stuff, or at least Korea is. Let's see what they're actually going to lock in.
It
เอา
is,
เหรอ
I think
ซิ
something
วู
Kennen does make
ไม่น่า
sense.
ใช่ปะ
But they, like,
Aurelia would be funny.
if you go for Aurelia, you are hampering your draft, I think, in so many other ways. I think that the Gwen is going to be very strong in team fights, and what they need is consistent damage, unless this Varus is going on hit, but I don't think that's going to be the case anymore with how they've set this up. I look at these two drafts and I'm like, okay, this game is going to be a one-sided game. I don't think there's any way this game is close. It's either the composition of D+ Kia gets ahead early, snowballs things, running the
แต่
map with
DK
Showmaker
แบบ
fed
อัป
on
เกร
the
ดขึ้นมา
Zoe,
โห
the
ดจริง
silent
เลย
pressure of the Gwen, the Kiana explosive mid-game fights, or Nongshim Red Force have engaged for days and an insane
แต่
front
นง
line
ชิม
and
ได้
a Nocturne
ได้
ultimate
โค้ช
and a
จาก
scaling
ฮาวาไล
Yunara.
มา
So,
ยังไม่ไหว
you either win the game early as D+, or you do not win it at all. I don't see any comeback
เป็นไปได้ยังไง
angle in this one.
Yeah, they basically need to blow Nongshim up immediately with the opening salvo or die, is kind of how it's going to go. Because they're very cooldown reliant with a composition like this. We have seen the Varuses, even in the later stages of the game, actually find some big angles. But they're few and far between. Oftentimes, it's mid-game or bust with that champion. And let's see what Smash can do. I mean, Smash honestly has been phenomenal so far in our first week and in game number 1 here of our second. So let's see how it is going to go. As a very eclectic draft here for DK. But of course, it is a 6-0 so far if they do manage to win here. But if they lose, there is still another backup game afterwards. Let's see how it goes.
ดับนงชิมดีป่ะพี่ แต่นักแข่งสื่อสารพลาดแบบหมายถึงว่าเป็นโค้ชอะมันก็ คือพี่มองว่าโค้ชต้องทำให้ทีมมันเข้ากันให้ได้เรื่องดับก็ส่วนหนึ่งแต่ว่าเรื่องนี้สำคัญต้องแก้จุดให้ได้ว่ามันแบบทำไมถึงแบบเกิดอะไรขึ้น
You don't necessarily take Comet in every matchup that you're playing in to get value out of the early game for the Varus because the Halo Blades is incredibly effective when you're both playing a melee support and your opponent is also playing a melee support. So
ไปตีแล้วมินเนี่ยน
get those
เข้า
extra
ไปหัว
autos in.
Yeah, both of our junglers as well, starting on the bottom side of the map, so likely going to be meeting towards the top side. We did have
แต่ตอนนี้ดับของนงชิมดีนะคือเป็นแนวแบบจัดการวาระแต่ว่าฝั่งของ DK เลยกดแบบเกวนลงมาสวนแบบถ้าคุณจัดการวาระได้แต่คุณมีเจอเกวนกับ FP คุยาน่าก็แบกได้
The area is what Showmaker has elected for this time.
Trying to weave those.
All right, and there's a lot of battling happening here in this
ไม่ไหวแล้วครับที่เกมแรกโอเคอยู่นะพอสู้ได้แต่ว่าตัวมันเงื่อนไขมันไฟยากไปหน่อยคือมันกลับเลยว่ะเฮ้ยสเกลกลับเลยว่ะเลือดแบบเวฟไม่ดีเลยนะเฮ้ยกลับเลยอ่ะ
and hold on to that lead and take over the game with this Zoe pick that we have seen relatively niche still, but making a bit of a comeback right now.
ลงมาก็
Showmaker does manage to throw out a Battlestar as Scout teleports back to lane. Very early teleport.
He's like, I have all the same health as you, and I have a teleport, so
yeah. And Trouble Bubble is
แค่ตีเฉยๆก็แรงขนาดนี้เลยเหรอ
And Showmaker also takes the cannon. Beautifully played, gorgeous. Couldn't have asked for more.
Showmaker is like, why'd I take teleport?
Well, because he can pick up other summoner spells from the floor. Maybe that's what it was. Something like that. He's trying to get a combo this time around, and that one's not looking quite as good. Shu now moving towards Kingen, but the snip is not going to connect. So probably just going to have to wait for this wave to come in. And right now, things very even when it comes to the top lane.
A very close exchange. Kingen just on the edge of that snip, if it does connect, takes a lot more damage. Looks a lot more favorable for Shu in that world.
Well, Lucid is going to discover Sponge. The Dustbringer does come in. A little bit of a battle here potentially. The 2v2 could be coming through. There's a hook onto Taeyeon though. Does have to use the cleanse to start this fight off. Smash wanting to try and find the kill on Taeyeon. Turns it. Looks to slow down Lehens. With the Eclipse running, Korea is in a lot of trouble and does get the Shield of Daybreak. Korea so close to dead, but is going to survive. And DK on their last legs here in this bottom lane, but will keep themselves alive for now.
Critically Smash did not have to flash, so that's a summoner spell advantage for the AD carry. Same is true of Lehens, but AD carry having that often feels a lot better. As Nocturne's coming down here, but Sponge is not alone. How quickly can he take Smash out of the question?
Yeah, that's the big deal. Zenith Blade is going to connect, and that means that there is a kill going over to Lehens. Sponge gets out of turret range, though, as Lucid looking to try and chase him down. Isn't going to be able to quite find the angle there. Lucid takes himself a cannon. And that is just first blood going over to Nongshim and not much of a response here by DK.
เลแฮนไม่ปล่อยให้เพื่อนได้เลย
Sponge is the one who was under threat there at the end. And the kill goes over to Lehens. And that is the first kill, the first blood here in this game. Going over to Nongshim, as you say. And we do have a rotation back over for Smash. You know, Taeyeon is backing right now, so things will kind of even up a little bit here in the CS department. But a very successful early punish.
Taeyeon didn't get an assist.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that all went out.
It was just, Sponge and Lehens getting that one done. She was in the mist, but not looking all that immune here towards this top side. Level 6 is about to be gained, or at least half a level away for both of our top laners.
Okay, now we have the big group up for D+ and a Randuin's.
Yeah, there's a hook to start this one off as Eclipse is getting some work done. There's the flash out. Lehens just pops like a balloon. Down goes the Kiana though in response as Sponge.
แต่ว่าสปอนโดนโชว์เมเกอร์แต่สเปลชิลสวยแต่ว่าโชว์เมเกอร์แฝดเข้ามาโอ้ได้หมดเลยทายูก็ตายอีกโอ้เดินมาดีจัดโชว์เมเกอร์
You have to play this composition as D+. You got to fight every opportunity you get. You have to constantly force
2 คิวให้สแมชพร้อมกับโดนดีนายเวฟแบบเบิ่มๆครับเลเวลห่างกันแบบครึ่งเวลอะ4 กับ 5
Showmaker gets a kill in this game as well. Like he comes down with the roam, has level 6 now, faster than Scout a little bit here, won't mount it too much. But watch this again. As Showmaker comes down with Lucid.
แก๊งในช็อตที่สเกลไม่พร้อมแน่นอนไม่มี TP แล้วก็วาร์ปกลับบ้าน
a level 4 Nocturne. So Lehens, he does what he can, right? Lucid ends up getting traded because of his heroics here. But now bubble hits. Sponge's spell shield is good, but it's not good enough.
แล้วชายยูนมัวแต่ตีแบบไม่ได้ระวังโดนดึง
And then Career hits this hook. Career having a great day.
Yeah, is it?
แต่ว่าโชว์เมเกอร์ครับตรงนี้โอ้หลบได้แต่ว่าอย่างไรครับไม่รอดครับตรงนี้ลูซิดปุ้มเอาได้กลับมาเหมือนกันทั้ง2 คิว
making it work once again 2-0 for Nongshim.
All right, well, we go back to square one in this one. As now Smash without cleanse here. Doesn't have his flash.
เลแฮนเอาว่ะจุดไฟครับตีสแมชตีอยู่โดนดึงอีกไอ้เชี่ย
isn't really what they were looking for. Taeyeon just walking away on fire right now. But Sponge is moving in. Korea looking worse for wear now as the Nocturne looking to make his way down.
มาแล้วลูซิด
wanting to get
มันสู้ไม่หยุดเลยว่ะ
is going to show
แล้วรถไม่
health.
จะเอารถอีกอะ
Very careful as there's a piercing arrow connecting onto Taeyeon. Korea likely to die. There's a paranoia. He goes in.
สปอนบอกว่าตีให้เวล6ให้หน่อย
make his way out. Dustbringer might be able to speed him up, but Showmaker is rotating down. There is that cue to come on forward, and so Sponge is going to make it to the darkness and into safety.
And if you're looking at this game state here, you're probably like, well, you know, it's one of those games where you thought, okay, D+ have to dominate early, and the gold is even. Where the gold is on this Fed Smash guy, who's pretty good in the bottom lane.
He is pretty good.
So we watch this play happen here. Showmaker, fortunately, not really a way to get out of this one. Got to go back to where you go with that teleport ultimate, and then Lucid gets picked off here by Sponge in the end. Sponge is probably just like, guys, especially Lehens, when I say guys, like, can you just let me get level 6? Like, he has had to do so much patching of holes in this game. He's like, I'm playing Nocturne. I want to have level 6. He does eventually get level 6 throughout this play as Taeyeon is able to nicely, definitely sidestep that arrow from Smash, so this becomes somewhat playable, right? Sponge is like, all right, it's trying to
บอกว่าตีรถคันนี้จะหกแล้วเดี๋ยวคาย
in this game. Ends up getting hooked here. Offers a ton of
ต้องใช้อ่ะคือต้องใช้คิวไปลาดรถอ่ะเมื่อกี้
The enemy 80 carry,
ไม่งั้นไม่หก
at least get something back, but most of the gold here for Nongshim is on that Nocturne, so I still feel like D+ are getting done the benchmarks they're looking for in this early game.
Yep, it's what they're looking for. These grubs now are going to be the target here for Lucid. Sponge might be able to rotate down, doesn't have Paranoia up and available, and Supreme Display of Talent is there for Lucid now that he has hit that level 6. Looks like it is just
แต่ว่าป่าหลายคนก็ยังคงติดนะพี่เห็นแบบเขาเอาไอ้กราฟเนี่ยเอาแค่2ตัวแล้วก็ไป
He's discovered that there's no one coming, so he's just going to be able to take all 3 most likely.
Sponge still doesn't have his Paranoia, so
คือติดแบบว่าให้มันมีแต้มไอ้ Epic Monster Point
and also the fact that there's no one really nearby. End up being able to save his smite for the final one, take all 3, which is fantastic for the Gwen, who we haven't looked at in a while, but is really going to be the biggest benefactor of this. So in the side lane, also decent. There's a lot of damage with that auto on the turrets.
True. Profane Hydra now picked up as well as Scout. Very deftly clears out this wave. Oh, now I missed Deft. Showmaker though now has an exhaust, and that's a little bit more fun.
Deft, a former D+ player. People kind of forgot about that era.
Indeed. Indeed. It's all right. Oh, of course. Scout and Deft, both former EDG players, which is kind of cute.
True.
There you go.
Lehens, a current Bandle Piper.
He is
going to complete that item with the gold lead he picked up with the 2 kills. And it's going to be relevant if there were to be a fight. This is going to be the Dragon going over to Nongshim here. No contest. Lucid is too far away. Yep. Just not interested in this. And I think when you consider a single Chemtech Dragon versus the grubs that were taken on the other side of the map for D+, definitely feeling good about D+.
Korea, what are we doing? What is the mind game? Standing next to the wall.
เลือกเป็นคาเรียก็ได้
As much as he can, as he does get into the fairway there. Anchor is not quite going to
ตรง
connect.
กลางโดนแล้วแต่ว่ามีแฟดอยู่
Showmaker, let's see whether he can get out of this. The answer is no. Bubble does connect, but yeah, if the bubble lands and there's no one there to pop it, it doesn't really land at all. Is the question?
คือก็ต้องรอให้น็อกเคิลเข้ามาถึงตัวแล้วค่อยแฟดหนีเลย
Flash out from King and Shiu going very aggressive.
อุ้ยยกแล้วสวนมาว่ะคิงเงิน1-1
needlework available. Shiu could be in trouble. However, if you land all the snips, you're still going to have a good trade. Now King versus Shiu is continuing. Minions are running out as now Lehens moves over. Lucid diving on forward. Does try and save his control.
มีโซล่าแฟร์อยู่ครับแฟดโซล่าแฟร์ตันอีต่อโอ้ยปึ้มได้เอามาเหมือนกันครับนงชิมก็บอกว่าดีเคพลาดดีกว่าก็ไม่พลาดหรอกดีเคมันชอบเล่นอย่างนี้อยู่แล้วโอ้โหแล้วโชว์เมเกอร์โดนเป็นแรงจัด
The setup there on the bottom side of the map, like they missed their window. They were zoning them away from far and pretty incredibly well. And there was that moment where they went to clear the control ward as Lehens is like, the danger has passed. Because it certainly had. I think at that point, it's a hex flash, but there's no opportunity here. That was a bit of a hard force that completely fell on its face down in the bottom lane. Smash still has a massive lead. So that's a good thing here, but Showmaker is looking a lot worse for wear after that bottom side play.
อย่างงั้นแฟดได้นะเหมือนจะพยายามจะเดินไปออกขอบก่อนมั้งไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวมันก็สโลว์เมื่อก่อนมันดันกลับไปนะอันนี้สโลว์ดูครับนี่พุ่งแบบมั่วนะแฟดตันเปิดต่อด้วยโซล่าแฟร์แล้วก็แบบอีต่อ
Yeah.
And like Smash has to use his ultimate here, Career has to flash, just they get even more.
It's not exactly what D+ were looking for there, but going a little bit fast and loose is Lucid so far today. Still, he's farming quite nicely and is going to remain relevant, especially with the very cheap item build that he is going for. Profane Hydra is now done. And I think DK, they should still be able to make this comp work in this mid game that's coming up. But it could be better as Chains of Corruption are going to come out. Solar Flare is going to hold on to Career as Lehens uses him to taxi his way out. There is a hook connecting, but Taeyun's going to make his way in.
มาแล้วผมสโลต่อครับผมกดตีมาแทยูตรงนี้ไล่หัวอยู่เรียบร้อยตรงนี้มีมาเหมือนครับสเกลพยายามจะสแมทแฟดออกครับแล้วมาน็อกเทิร์นมาเอาคุยาน่าแทนแล้วกลายเป็นหนักเลยฮะตรงนี้ดีเคครับเป็นคอมมิตจากนอติลุสอีกแล้วคาเรียไปเปิดใส่เจอเลแฮนครับผมโซล่าแฟร์สวนแล้วกด E พยายามจะหนีเข้ามาในป้อมครับโดนพันนิชแล้วตรงนี้มาดูอีกรอบครับเนี่ยครับเลแฮนจะฟีดเลนครับแล้วเจอตีจากสแมนครับโซล่าแฟร์แล้ว E สวนตันแล้วเดินเข้ามาในป้อมแล้วแต่ว่าแคเรียดึงทีนี้ก็เลยเป็นไฟเลยครับเป็นเรื่องครับแทยูนมาสเกลครับแฟดข้ามเขามาโอ้โหสวยจัดแล้วกุยาน่าลูซิดก็เหมือนมาตายแทนสแมนครับ
A second backfire play there on the bottom side of the map.
วันนี้ก็สนุกเหลือเกินครับแหมเขตมันจริงๆอันตีมีหน้ามันขี้เกียจไม่ได้กด
up against King, and still you can see Shiu is actually ahead by a massive amount of farm, so that is good news. Maybe DK can leverage that, and there are still avenues. It's only 2,000 gold the advantage. But if Nongshim starts stringing together another couple of dragons or something like that, then the lack of map control will really start pinching DK.
I mean, when you're down on items as
the mid laner, you know,
and you don't have vision control, so you can't set traps. Even the idea,
แทยูนก็กลับมาแล้วนะ
cover the gold lead, you're like, oh, okay, so we could pick at any point in the game, but you can't see where the enemy
ที่ว่าโมเมนตัมของ DK มันเสียไปตอนที่ตรงกลางไปซัดกันแล้วตาย2ลูซิดกับโชว์เมเกอร์ตายอ่ะหลังจากที่เพิ่งได้มาเยอะมากอ่ะแล้วไปแบบตายแบบ 3-3 อ่ะตรงนั้นคือแบบสกอร์ DK 3นงชิง3อะไรเงี้ยไม่ดีอ่ะทำให้โมเมนตัมมันเสียไปถ้าไม่ตายตรงนั้นน่าจะได้เปรียบเลยคาเรียมา
Career is lurking by, so this needs to work here for
มัน
D+.
ออกเสียงไงมันก็จะเหมือนจะเคเลียตลอดเวลาเลย
They're going to start it. King gets underneath this turret here as needlework has already been used. See whether Shiu does find the angle. That's a great use.
เยอะเกินไปหรือเปล่าพี่
But he's still going to be dead because DK just sent everyone.
I mean, D+ have figured it
แล้ว
out.
คือ
Okay, they're like
อัน
Smash
ตี
is the
แบบ
win con. He's the one who's ahead.
หลบอันตีคุยาน่านะ
They know where their bread is buttered. In this game, they're like, Okay, it wasn't working well. Smash gonna have to cleanse here.
โซล่าแฟร์ไม่โดนแต่ว่าตรงนี้ไม่มีแฟลชแล้วนะไปไม่ถึงจริงแต่ว่าได้สแมทโดนจนได้สเกล
Showmaker now looking for a bit of an
ตายหรือ
angle.
เปล่า
Korea is in
น่าตาย
position. That is a very dead Aurora. And she will go down. Shiu now also able to take the top out of turret. And Rift Herald will be secured by DK.
ได้ป้อมล่างได้มังกรแลกกับลิฟต์แล้วก็แลกกับป้อมบน ส่วนตรงกลางก็แลกสแมชกับสเกลสเกลโดนอันติพอดียิงเสียดายจัดดูอีกรอบนะตรงนี้ลูกศิษย์อันติปุ๊บแล้วยกไปที่แคเรียพยายามจะหนีไปอีกด้านหนึ่งปรากฏว่าพอเราจะลงไปปุ๊บเจอโชว์เมเกอร์โผล่มาก็ทีนี้ก็ลำบากอีกแล้วก็ตรงนี้ก็ใช้เทรนเนี่ย
Showmaker teleport does come through and they end up getting the kill on Scout as we're having a fight here.
ได้แฮนด์โดนตรงนี้จะบิวหมดเรียบร้อยตายอย่างเร็ว
And he will be going down. Shiu is able to snip him up. And that is a dead Leona one more time.
เรียกว่าเสียเทมโปไปมานะ
to add insult to injury.
We don't have context, but it's the Lehen's barrel art situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't
hang it in a museum.
The context is Lehen's.
Yeah,
and I think that's enough.
But anyway, D+ get the kill on the Scout, get his teleport, and then get a Rift Herald, and now get Lehen's, and it's like, wait a minute, is this playable? It feels kind of playable.
I mean, it's looking more playable than it was a little while ago, and that is the direction they wanted to go.
กว่าว่ะพี่ว่า
As Rift Herald, like you say, does come down.
ได้เฮอร์โร่
Looking for a charge here, and should be able to at least take a chunk out of this turret. There it is.
Because after the kill topside, Shiu also got the full
แต่พี่
turret.
นึกว่าป้อมระเบิดนะคิดว่าแบบเฮอร์โร่ทำป้อมระเบิดปรากฏได้แค่
Yeah, we didn't need the
ได้
context.
แค่เพจเดียวเอง
He was in the river, ladies and gentlemen, and that was illegal.
Leona
Lens
doesn't
gets
move
used in mid.
fast. She kind of dies there in those situations.
All right, Taeyeon
ใครอยู่
did
จะตาย
have
แล้ว
to press his cleanse button and eat some honey fruit, and he should be okay. You can see a bit of a reset coming on through here for DK. Swifties done for Smash, so if he's not hit by the middle of the solar flare, he's going to be feeling kind of okay about it. Runs pretty quickly on this champion for now. 2 items are completed for both of our 80 carries, but a little bit cheaper on Smash's side. And so having these 2 done for Taeyeon is going to feel absolutely fantastic. Third, of course, is going to feel even better, especially with an Infinity Edge spike. But
Well, the Fiend Hunter bolts too is just such a huge spike.
Yeah, very true.
Ultimate in team fights. And I think we've already kind of reached the point where D+ can't 5v5 without a crazy wombo.
ว้าวข้างล่างเกวนโดน
All right, wombo.
yeah, Shiu is not quite allowed to be here. Does use the flash, but there's
ไม่
public
ไหวครับแฟด
execution.
แล้วก็ไม่ไหว
And down will go the Gwen. Does have a few snips in him, but it's not going to quite work out.
ก็จะ
So
ตาย
that is
พ
Gwen
ระ
on the
เจ้า
floor. And DK looking to see whether they have a cross map, and it looks like they may not.
And that was their one big Fed member just shut down in sides. And like you said, there's no cross. That turret on the top side is already gone. Showmaker can't push that one down. A lot of minions will be lost. In fact, it looks like maybe even Lucid was like, should I pick those up? Gotta get Krugs on the way. Just a lot of lost money here. And in 5v5s, Taeyeon is going to press R and clean up the enemy champion. Scout's going to zone for him. Sponge is going to zone for him. They also have Insane engaged. So Smash is not safe. He doesn't have his summoners. His cleanse is coming back up. And he was massively ahead early on in this game. He's now 1,200 gold behind. And this is kind of the game state I was alluding to when I said it's going to be one-sided if D+ don't get ahead. It happened in a very silly way, and there was some bumpy rocks on the bottom side of the map. But I would tell you guys my forecast right now is that this is probably going to 3 unless D+ can make
มันแรงมากใช่ไหม
some miraculous
ตัว
like, miracle team fight happen, some crazy pick,
Lich Bane
some
ของ
crazy
โซอี้
Zoe
อะ
angle from Showmaker.
มันทำยังไงมันทำงานยังไงวะไม่เข้าใจวะ
Because it's straight up 5v5s.
คือถ้า
I don't see it. Now
ส
with the
กิลของ
nocturne on
โซ
4
อี้มันได้รับ
kills,
ผลของ Lich
Strike
Bane เหรอ
Breaker, the Gwen is a side lane
เหมือนแบบ
threat,
เหมือน
but
แก๊งแทง
kind of
คิว
not
เนี่ย
really
เหรอ
actually, as we've already seen.
Yeah, not as
ยังไง
scary
วะ
now.
หรือต้องเข้าไปตี
When Nash's Tooth is done, like if you leave her in a side lane,
มัน
then
ต้อง
she
ตี
will
แล้วมัน
just
จะ
kind
ทำ
of
ยังไง
break
วะ
your stuff. But it's likely
โอ้ต้อง
the
ตี
King
เหรอ
will
แล้ว
be
มัน
able
ดี
to
เหรอวะ
respond. He's getting closer and closer to 2 items. I think it hasn't been back to base for quite some
ตี
time.
ป้อมเหรอ
As Taeyeon does throw out the
อ๋อมันจะมีพุ่ง
slurple
แบบ
here, but,
ตีหนึ่ง
DK
ที
not looking too
ตี
worried
ก่อน
about
แล้ว
it.
ค่อยโดนสกิลอะไร
He
อย่างเงี้ยเหรอ
almost has that cleanse up and available once again, but
งงดี
most
ว่ะ
importantly does have flash and Scout down here
อ๋อ
towards the
ก็โดด
bottom side.
คือ
It's
โซ
got
อี้
a
กระโดด
shield
แล้วเข้ามาตี
to try and catch that wave. 20 seconds on this dragon looks to be the next port of call as far as the fight is concerned, and DK probably
สนุ
don't
ก
want
ชิ
to
บเป่ง
give
เลย
this
ดู
one
การ
away
เล่น
for
โซ
free.
อี้แล้วเข้า
There
เข้าใคร
goes
อะ
the paranoia. Sponge gets on in
เข้า
there.
คุยหน้าแล้วคุยหน้าตายเลยป่ะตายเลยแล้วยกยี่สวยมากสแมทโดนข้างหลังอยู่
But Smash Oh,
King N
and all of them just take a
ป้อม
nap.
ป้อม
Lose
หนึ่ง
to
ที
Showmaker and
ไม่ตาย
Smash.
ครับ
Dead in the blink of
เหลือ
an
เย
eye.
อะได้บาลอน
Here for Nongshim.
ลูซิดโดนก่อนเลย เพราะว่าอันเดอร์ครับพออันเดอร์แล้วเป็นป่าด้วยมันก็แบบโดนเพ่งเล็งอยู่แล้วพอป่าเสียมันก็ได้บาลอนครับ
Okay, but the fight is done. Thanks for the effort, though. As Shiu, it looks like he wants to trade this for a dragon consolation prize here.
Yeah,
Best
Like a
for D+,
Mongol,
but
I think they will at least be able to get that. But
Scout is like, cool, I'll just take the turret. So I think that's a little bit more
ยก
valuable
สวย
than
มากเลยอ่ะ คิงเงินนะวาร์ปตรงนั้นด้วยไงแบบวาร์ปมาแบบเหลี่ยมแบบไม่มีใครเห็นเว้ยปิดไฟพอดีไง
Look at this TP for Kingen.
ดู
He's
ดิแล้วแบบ
like, I can go all the way to the back line on the smash. There's so
ฟาด
much engagement.
พอ
The
ดี
whole
แล้ว
career
แป๊ะ
is like, I got him. I got Taeyun. Clean it up, guys.
คาเรียก็ช่วยไม่ได้ครับ
Guys, where's my team?
well, they were dead. Well,
เฮ้ย Showmaker
that's the unfortunate reality.
เดินมาเจอน็อกเทิร์นครับผม
Yeah, Nongshim are really starting to run away with this game, and you pointed it out already.
กลายเป็นว่าอีป้ายเบซ่าที่หนักแล้วนะแพทเนี่ยคือมันเฟกแบบว่าป่าก็ได้บนก็ได้ด้วย
But even if he had have landed that
เริ่ม
hook,
เริ่
I
ม
think
เริ่ม
maybe
แบบ
it would have been him that's closer to
OP
dead
อยู่นะ
rather than Nongshim.
เฟกป่ากับบน
As
นี่
the
มัน
siege is
ยากอยู่นะ
continuing, Scout taking
พอ
plate
เป็นอย่างนี้
after
ปุ๊บ
plate.
นงชิมเลย
He's
เฟก
going to
แบบ
connect
เอเมซ่าได้
Jace go down as well, but Kingen isn't too worried, and DK still just clutching at straws for now. I think DK's answer is let's just keep starting fights and see what we can get done. There's a paranoia.
แล้วเขาคุยกันได้อีกแล้วแต่
Solar flare
ไม่ได้ทำอะไรเลยว่ะ
but it doesn't
ส
really
เกาจะตาย
matter.
สเกาจะตาย
As the Kiana is
ออก
just
มาได้
dead.
ครับ
Some need to work out onto Scout
เฮ้ย
here.
ดึ
As
ง
the
อะ
snipes are starting to
คา
come
เรีย
on through. Taeyun trying to fight back here, gets the knock up, does Korea, and now Shiu looking for that angle.
ทีมบอกไม่ดีนะไม่ค่อยสวยเท่าไหร่แล้วโดนหลับตรงนี้
And
โชว์เมเกอร์โดนยกสังงันเลยครับโชว์เมเกอร์เข้าไป
Him out of the air. My God, that was cool from Kingen. And Showmaker just takes his 5th death of the game.
Yeah, Showmaker really, I think, had a lot to prove. He had a lot he wanted to
โชว์เมเกอร์
show
เมื่
in
อกี้
this
หน้า
game,
คือ
but
คืนน้ำลายเลยอ่ะ
sadly it's not working
ตาย
out
ส
the
อง
way
ตัว
he
อย่างไว
wanted
ครับ
to. And scrappy fights are the name of the game for D+ with this composition, right? They want to constantly try to find picks,
อันนี้
find these
ตรงเนี้ย
angles.
แบบเมื่อกี้
and
ตาย
sideline situation, Showmaker
ตายตรงเมื่อกี้ก็ไม่ค่อยดีเท่าไหร่
defensively here. This is
คือการตายมัน
a
แบบ
choke point where
แปลก
Smash
ๆอยู่
is
อะ
like, okay, just give me a lineup here on Scout. I can't quite see him. That's so frustrating for him. Everyone's so low. He just continues to layer this damage. This is a great ult from Career. Ends up getting the double knock up there. Shiu just cannot close
ไม่
the
โดน
gap.
แล้วสกิลหนึ
And
ง
then Showmaker decides, okay,
หลับ
I've got enough
โดน
burst. I got the sleep, and he pops.
Well, Paranoia comes down. The inner turret is already dead. Flash out from Shiu. The rest of the team are going to show up, though, as DK look to try and fight this one back. Kingen
อย่างไรครับ
rotating down.
ไหว
Solar
ไหม
Flare is fantastic. And the Gwen is
คิว
not
ตายครับ
immune. Slurkle comes in, but doesn't get too much joy here as DK with one missing.
สแมทโดนอยู่ครับ
Trying to continue fighting this one out, but
แต่
Scout
ออกมาได้
in with a
สแมท
great stasis with
มือ
his
สเกาไม่
Zhonya's.
ตายฮะ
And Smash just has to cleanse
โอ้
to get himself
เหลื
to
อ
safety.
แค่คนเดียว
Leaves
ส
the
แมท
rest of
โอ้
his
ย
team
ผม
in
จะ
the
ทำยังไง
dust.
เหรอครับ
And
พี่พี่
Nongshim, I think, are just
พี่
going
พี่
to put
ตาย
an
หม
end
ด
to
แล้
this
ว
game and bring us to a game number 3.
We knew it was going to be one-sided from the draft. We just didn't know which direction. But some arrogance, I feel, in some of those bottom side plays from D+. Some backfires, and a complete snowball rolls down the hill as Sponge runs away with the game on this Nocturne.
Yeah, Sponge playing a fantastic game this time around, but Nongshim ultimately just getting it together. I think top side of the map definitely playing well, but it's the mid-jungle today for Nongshim that are definitely looking the best. Even in game number 1, looking fantastic there despite the result. And here in game number 2, able
พี่
to
ว่าเล
actually
แฮนถือว่า
get
โชยนะ
the result they were looking
ช็อต
for.
แบบเบรกโมเมนตัมข้างล่างอ่ะที่แบบ
He was going in big time. He was
โดนวารัสอันติแล้วก็แบบโซลาร์แฟร์สวนไปที่แบบนอติลูสแล้วก็พุ่งหนีออก
Man,
มาเลย
I'm supposed to just be farming, but here I am on the bottom lane again at level 4.
Yeah.
And like, it worked, you know, they were able to get enough gold on him. They kept, then, you know, being able to catch the aggression out of this Zoe
คือ
from
เขารับวารัส
Showmaker.
มาเก่าว่าแบบ
And Career, he had no
คือ
restraint.
พี่คิดว่าแบบพอ
This
พอ
game
น็อกเทอร์มันโผล่มาผมก็คิดแล้วว่า
Sometimes it worked out, but for the
วารัส
most
โดนไป
part,
แล้วกันแล้วเดี๋ยว
just ended up
ให้
feeding
เกวนแบก
Nongshim a lot of money. They
ปรากฏ
already had the
เกวน
first
แบบ
comp,
ได้เงินมา
so
เหมือน
people
ทำมิ่ง
just
จะแบบเอ้ย
trying
เหมือนจะแบก
desperate
ได้
Hail
ปรากฏ
Marys,
ว่า
and eventually they ran out of
ไม่
steam.
ได้ทำแบบนั้นครับ
Some
แล้วก็เป็นไฟ
24
ที่แบบ
game
พลาด
here. 6 minutes
ดูสิ
under
ตาย
average
เสีย
here.
บาลอน
Nongshim
แล้วก็จบเลย
bring us to 3.
Yeah, and
ซิวู
the
แบบ
Kiana
หาของมาแบ่งไม่ทัน
situation
แล้วก็ไม่
remains
ได้แบ่ง
where
ด้วย
it was in Korea in 2025, and that is in the bin.
ที่
This
ได้ไป
champion
ถ่ายรูปกับ
just
พี่สาว
hasn't
เท่ไหม
been
ครับ
one that we've been able to make work. Maybe Kanavi can do something on it because he spent most
เอ
of
อ
his
เลแฮ
time
น ลีโอ
in
น่ากับนิ
the
โกะนี่คนละทรงจริง
But we here in the LCK just can't seem to get the Kiana
โอเค
to
เดี๋ยวเรา
work out.
ทำตารางนิดนึง
Lucid
อะ
is
เพราะว่า
going to
พี่ยังไม่
join
ทำตาราง
that
LCK
exact list.
สัปดาห์นี้เลยนะ
But still, DK, with
Sepakat.
another opportunity here, they will have the right of first selection moving into game number 3, and we'll see whether that will lead them to a less weird and wonderful draft, perhaps, as we look into that third game. But it's fearless, so we could have some really fun picks as well. Make sure you stick around. We'll have the space to break down that game number 2, and then we will look forward to game number 3. We'll see you
ท
soon.
ำตารางแข่ง LCK ให้หน่อยคู่แรกแข่งบ่าย 3คู่2 17 30ผมรู้เขียนเอง เฮ้ย เรามี Chat GPT อยู่ คุณใช้ AI ให้คุมครับ พี่ตั้งคำสั่งไว้แล้วแต่พี่จำคำสั่งไม่ได้ นี่ไง นี่แบบใช่ปะทำตารางแข่งแบบเดิมเป๊ะๆเลยนะ นี่เห็นปะแล้วก็เอานี้ออกหน่อยก็ได้นี่เอาแบบนี้ดีกว่าเฮ้ยมันคืออันนี้นี่ว่ะไม่เอาแบบนี้นะขอแบบนี้ สบายๆ bro เฮ้ยมันมีแบบมันมาให้พี่ด้วยอ่ะ เฮ้ย เดี๋ยวนะแปลกๆละเฮ้ยมันมาให้พี่ด้วยว่ะแบบคู่ไหนทีเด็ดเดี๋ยวนะ LCK ครับ2026 วีค2 บวกเกาหลีหลังจากนี้ไปเกาหลีไม่ได้ดูอันนี้น่าดูช่วงค่ำๆเวลาสัก6 โมงอาจจะมีไลฟ์เดินหาอะไรกินเกาหลีแล้วก็ไลฟ์คิดว่าจะไลฟ์เก็บบรรยากาศให้เห็นที่งานถ้าเป็นไปได้เวลาสักน่าจะไลฟ์สัก2 วันอะไรอย่างนี้หรือไม่ก็อันนี้อาจจะไปอยู่วันสุดท้ายเดี๋ยวดูอีกทีไม่ชัวร์อาจจะมีไลฟ์สักหน่อยที่เกาหลี แล้วก็อันนี้ไม่ได้ดูแล้ววันที่25เพราะว่าอยู่ที่นู่นไม่ได้เอาคอมไปละเพราะว่ามันแบบมันไม่คุ้มแล้วเพราะว่าเราแทบไม่ได้ดูเลยครับตัวนี้สำเร็จเสร็จปุ๊บประมาณนี้น่าจะกำลังดีกับพี่เขียนป้ายเชียร์ซีทีวันแบงเดี๋ยวโอ้โหบอกก่อนนะใช้ว่าไลฟ์ใน LCK Park ไม่ได้คือไม่ข้างในก็คือไม่ได้เลยเหรอหรือไม่ก็อาจจะถ่ายวีล็อกไม่รู้เหมือนกันว่าจะได้ไลฟ์ได้ไหมโอ้มันขอไม่ทันคือมันไลฟ์ได้แหละมันถ่ายคอนเทนต์ได้แต่ว่าต้องขอไปทางเกาหลีมันไม่ทันครับมันอาจจะต้องใช้เวลาเยอะโอ้โหเมื่อวานเลเจนด์แบงเชี่ยเมื่อวานเลเจนด์แบงดูดิเมื่อวานเลเจนด์แบง
เล่นกับฟาซ่าสกิลไม่โดนครับซีซี่ครับว่าไงฮะทักทายแล้วโอเคต้องถอยแล้วฮะโอ้แย่แล้วครับโฟเวียสโดนแน่นอนครับแฟลตแล้วฮะยังไล่อยู่แล้วฮะเอาไม่เอาครับ
อาริฟีนก็
กลับไปเติมก่อนไหมครับ
เสียงโคตรคุ้นเคยอ่ะอันนี้คือเขาไลฟ์ใน YouTube ได้ปะอ้าวทำไม YouTube ไม่ได้ไลฟ์อ่ะออนไลฟ์นี่
The like just diving calm and then especially in Octane was very
เรียกว่าแบบ
playing the Kiana and Joy I think it was a really good
อินฟลูเอนเซอร์ตอนนี้ก็คือ
Look at how this one all shook out with our first couple of plays here on the bottom side of the map started good for Nongshim but then D+ turned around
So yeah, Lihans traded first, but they fought back the DK. But I feel like Career kind of fought back
กระแส
too
มาแร
late.
งมาก
So Leona could have cooldowns again, and that's why they were
6 โมงไทยหรือ6 โมง6 โมงไทยเมื่อกี้คำนวณให้แล้ว
At the end,
เวลาเป็นเวลาไทยหมดเลยพี่ปรับให้เรียบร้อยแล้วเพราะว่าพี่จะไลฟ์สัก2 ทุ่มที่เกาหลีก็ประมาณ6 โมงที่ไทยปรับให้หมดแล้ว
I think Nautilus and Varus should win the bot lane harder enough, but I guess that didn't work out. But at the end, they used the mid priority with Zoe so that they could have a triple kill in the bot lane. I thought it was end of the game.
You're saying it's over.
ว่าแต่พี่กิ๊ฟเปิดรับฮิวจริงใช่ไหมครับอยากฝากเบอร์เดี๋ยวถ่ายมาแล้วก็
champion well enough, but it didn't work out that well.
ถ่ายมาแล้วเดี๋ยวมันต้องไปถ่ายดูก่อนว่ามัน
the kills for Nongshim went over to Lehens on the support role. You're thinking not looking so good. However, the jungle diff started to step in here, Umpty.
I actually think that
มันต้องไปถ่ายก่อนว่ามีสินค้าอะไรบ้างแล้วก็ให้แชทแบบรีควายว่าอยากได้อะไรแล้วก็ค่อยว่าตรงนี้ไฟเนี่ยไม่น่าเลย
used the flash at the ball side so he didn't have a flash so it's actually quite hard to win this 2v2 and the Oli plan 2 and then Nocturne got a double kill here because he was having a hard time
and then
at the first ult and with the minions he got the barely at the level 6 and he killed Varus and get the ultimate again so the game is actually for Nocturne is open now So after the killing the Varus, all the Nocturne ulti timing, everyone is like, turn off the light, someone is dying. Turn off the light, someone is dying. DK is like,
Yeah, I mean they can never.
มันคิวก่อนถึงได้ด้วยเนาะโคตร
Especially I want to point out
เอาเลยวะ
Career Nautilus for example like I think he should
โอ้ได้แบงค์ด้วยครับ
but he lost
Yep.
Second, I think he should just cover mid all the time because whenever Zoe has no flash, you cannot do anything against Noxon, right? So
แต่
I
ฮิว
think
ไม่
he
เยอะ
should
นะ
just
เพราะว่า
actually
มัน
just
เรื่อง
sitting
น้ำหนักกระ
mid
เป๋า
lane
ด้วยแล้วก็
24/7 to help the mid priority into the bot lane, but he didn't well in lane.
ก็ไม่อยากแบบว่าสมมติว่ารับฮิวมาทุกคนแบบสั่งซื้อได้10 คนจ่ายเงินเรียบร้อยแล้วพอไปถึงปุ๊บแบบสมมติว่าไปดูวันที่1วันที่2ไปดูปุ๊บอ่ะไม่ได้ทุกคนเราต้องมานั่งเคลียร์อีกว่าคนไหนไม่ได้แล้วโอนกลับเลยมันจะแบบวุ่นวายเหนื่อย
So at this mid fight, I think the TP was great with position because DK wanted to poke and win, but they just decided, oh, we're dive comp. You guys can't poke with us. And then Nocturne's very good targeting was just killing Kiana first for using the ult not well. And then the ambassador just go to the back line, and then the fight was just unwinnable.
This is the fight where we just want to see it from Nongshim, you know, like just TPing behind and Nocturne ulti at the same time to hide it down. And I think just in general, like Kingen and Sponge, they're playing well so much
แต่พี่ว่า
better
ห
than
ลาย
the
ๆคน
game
พอ
one. And I
ได้เสพ
helped
การเล่น
Nongshim too
โม
well.
บ้าในมือถือแล้วอะก็รู้สึกว่าแบบเฮ้ยแม่งสะดวกสบายดีแฮว่ะคือจากที่เราต้องมานั่งที่โต๊ะคอมแล้วก็นั่งเปิดแบบเล่นซีเรียสจริงจังใช่ป่ะก็ไปเล่นนอนเล่นที่มือถือ
We were able to hear on the comms very briefly, those of you that caught it, that CV Max used a coach's comm as they were pushing in. He just had a quick note about early game comps, and you guys covered it. They didn't play it well. They didn't execute it well. A thing to learn on as they move on to game number 3.
จริงเหรอ
What
เนี่ย
do
ผ
you
ม
want
ก็
to
จริง
see
จัง
here
พี่ต้องมา
from
เล่น
D+
ต้องมานั่งเล่น
in
ดี
terms of
ๆวอเตอ
composition?
ร์จริงอ๋อคือแรงสูงนะ
I am not sure about the early game plans too now. So
ฝาก
but I
ซื้อ
think
ลำยอน
still their mid jungle is very strong.
บ้านเรานะ
I
ถูกกว่านะ
hope they just like can use the early mid jungle power.
I mean, they just need to mix up a little bit, you know. That was too much about the early game priority, and also.
ใช่ใช่สำหรับพี่ว่ามันสนุกถ้าเล่นกับเพื่อนแต่ถ้าเกิดให้เต็มความรู้สึกเต็มโมบ้าก็คือให้แค่แบบ30%
Well, learning
จากความแบบความรู้สึกโมบ้าทั้งหมดอะ
take the win. Will D+ Kia stay undefeated in the LCK Cup, or will Nongshim continue to take down the top teams? Let's find out with game number 3.
แต่เป็นเกมที่พี่คิดว่าหลายๆคนแบบเด็กๆก็รุ่นใหม่ก็แบบอยากได้คอนเทนต์อยากได้คนทำคอนเทนต์เกี่ยวกับเกมเยอะๆโหพี่ไปดูใน TikTok คนทำคลิปเกี่ยวกับพวกแบบเกมเนี้ยเกี่ยวกับพวกแบบสอนว่าเล่นยังไงปรับแต่งยังไงอ่ะคลิปหนึ่งคนดูเป็นล้านวิวแบบกดไลค์50,000 50,000หมดเลยแล้วตัดภาพไปที่พี่แบบว่าทำเทียร์ลิสต์แบบ LL แบบตัดอย่างยากเลยทำอย่างยากเลยเนื้อหาอย่างแน่นเลยคนดู 20,000 10,000
The ability to have the B5 counter pick here on blue side could be something they are looking for, plus the extra strength of blue side, which has historically been, albeit slightly, the stronger side. See what CV Max is.
แต่ว่าคือ
I'm a little bit worried about that one because of course we are a lot deeper into Fearless now.
ก็ทำในสิ่งที่เราชอบเป็นหลักของพี่อะ
And we'll just have to see what kind of weird and wonderful picks are going to come out, whether the bans are going to change completely. Maybe we get some Orianas and some Azirs or something like that. This guy just said he can swap in.
หรือเราต้องไปแบ่งเอายอดเด็กละพี่คือเด็กตอนนี้วิวัฒนาการของเด็กตอนนี้คือจะเล่นโรบอกก่อนเล่นในแมปแบบอะไรแบบนั้นตกปลาอะไรแบบเป็นเหมือนเด็กแล้วพอโตขึ้นมาหน่อยนึงก็จะเริ่มไปโมบ้ามือถือแล้วเล่นตามเพื่อนอะไรเงี้ยมัธยมก็เริ่มแล้วมัธยมก็จะเริ่มโมบ้ามือถือแล้ว
hit for us. Like we were thinking Nongshim had the better draft in game 1. Game 2, the draft was incredibly risky for D+. Yeah. As game 1 was not as extremely obviously risky, but still was very risky. So now also opting to give first pick over to Nongshim Redverse. I think we'll see some different bans here, but CV Max, you know, started the year off great. Let's keep it that way with some, you know, obviously we can't run drafts back anymore.
ต้องย้ายเดี๋ยวพี่เปลี่ยนชื่อเป็นแบบไอหัวแดงแบงแบง .com พี่เปลี่ยนชื่อช่องก่อนไอหัวแดงแบงแบง .com
But we're going to be remaining with the same first couple of bans here, as Poppy is going to be a deviation. See what that means as far as what is going to be banned away.
When you ban Oriana on, you know, when the enemy team has first pick, you are also saying I'm banning Azir, yeah, and also I'm banning Jace. You're basically saying I don't have two other bans. They are just going to be the same ones again. So zip bans might change, but in fact, they absolutely do not. As Jace will 100% be banned with Malphite and also the Scion ban.
Well, we did say
ตอนนี้พี่จะเป็นจูลงคือมันไม่มีตัวอื่นเลย
So maybe this is the time where the Jace actually slips through, and it will. for the very first time.
This time to think about what comp they want to run, but apparently they're thinking about just giving Sponge over the Jace. And
เจสหลุดครับ
I think probably a bit stunned here. Or Nongshim, we'll see how long it takes him to lock it in.
DK ปล่อยเจสครับ
We don't like this.
Well, I wrote it in already, Wolf.
ขอหายใจ1ทีแล้วก็กดเจสมาครับผมมาครับเราได้เห็นเจสนี่เป็นครั้งแรกนอกจาก LCK Opening นะซีซั่นที่แบบมีเจสหลุดมาปะอ่ะครั้งแรกเขาก็บอกมาแล้วครั้งแรกครับที่เจสครับได้เลือกครับ
They definitely have an answer. Okay, this answer is very basic. It's not that creative. As Smash takes a big, deep breath there, knowing that this game is going to be about him on the solution, the acceleration of it.
เป็นตัวที่โดนแบนเยอะมาก
Did you just slam Milio? Because remember, a lot of the champion sports, like the main two, like the Bard Nico are gone. Karma Lucian doesn't really inspire you unless
กด Y ส่วนมา Y ลูเซียนแล้วก็นามิเหรอกดคาริสตาเลยว่ะคาริสตาเลยนาตาเอาได้เจอลูเซียนนามิแล้วก็คาริสตาเลยนาตา
They're the only options that they really have.
I mean, the Milio was a Carrier exclusive. It's otherwise been Nami every time.
เจเล่นตำแหน่งไหนได้บ้างในแข่งคิดว่าบนกลางท็อปบนป่ากลาง
Yeah, we'll just have to see what is going to happen there. But now, next round of bans to come on through here as both teams are
ทำไมมันถึงโกงแพทนี้
not likely the King is going to be playing the Jace. He has been pretty much
คือแพทเนี้ยไอรุน first strike แล้วเอาไอ้ cashback มามันคือแพทเนี้ยพอเราได้ของคือมันบัมเงินได้ไวเดียวแล้วเจมันรวยเว้ยเจมันรวยมันได้แคชแบ็กซื้อของแบบ2ชิ้นคนอื่นก็มีชิ้นเดียวอ่ะแล้วมันยิงแรงมากเว้ยด้วยความที่ของมันไวใช่ป่ะมันก็จะแรงมันจะขึ้นแบบโยมูแล้วก็ opportunity ชิ้น2อ่ะแล้วมันจะมีแบบ lethality แบบอยู่ในคือ lethality เนี่ยพอไปเจอมอนสเตอร์พวกมอนสเตอร์ในป่ามันก็ฟาร์มเร็วอยู่แล้วอ่ะมันก็จะได้เปรียบหน่วยมาส่วนใหญ่มอนเตอร์ป่ามันจะแบบเกาะมันไม่ได้เยอะแล้วพอ lethality เข้าไปเลยปุ๊บมันก็จะแบบหน่วยมันเลยแบบมันเลยมีประโยชน์มากแล้วก็เรื่องของป่าแบบวิ่งในวิ่งแบบวิ่งเร็วครับเจสมันวิ่งเร็วมากเลยเดินในป่ามันแบบถ้าอยากเร็วสุดก็กด E วิ่งผ่านเกตก็วิ่งโคตรเร็วสลับไปมาวิ่งในป่า
You could probably just focus elsewhere, but this draft is like, for D+ here, it's very obvious, it's very straightforward. They're like, okay, I don't want to deal with Wukong. And
บลอมกันขึ้นไม่ดีเขาจะเอาต่อคอมโบเขาไม่ได้เขาอยากจะได้ aggressive มากกว่า defensive เพราะว่าเล่นกับ Y แล้วมันก็ไม่มีเอมเบซ่าด้วยเพราะฉะนั้น Y เอมเบซ่าไม่ได้คาริยาก็ไม่มีเหลืออาริสโดนแบนไปแล้วเรือบองก็โดนแบนไปแล้วโชว์เมเกอร์ไม่ได้เล่นเลยครับไม่มีตัวเติมดาเมจต้องหาแชมเปี้ยนที่เติมดาเมจกับ Y ให้ได้เล่นกับ Y เข้าไปใน Y อันนี้ดีสุดตรงนี้น่าจะคามิวคือจะเล่นคามิวก็ได้อยู่กาลิโอคาริโออ่ะถ้าเป็นคอมโบเนี่ยจับตายคามิวกาลิโอแล้วต้องไปพิกกาลิโอก่อนเอาซาเฮนก่อน
Okay, that's what she was looking at least at the moment. That'll be blind.
ซาเฮนครับ
It is pretty tough to play that into Jace as well. So this is kind of
ถ้าเจสบนก็ยังได้นะคิงเล่นบนได้ครับ
Perhaps they just are saying, look, play Jace top. There's not anything left for Sponge in the jungle, and the Vi is going to be incredibly powerful and dominant in this early game. So they're forcing
เลนิกตันครับถ้าจะแบบสบายแบบเซฟเลนิกเคนเน่นเคนเน่นนี่คือเก่งเลยเคนเน่นนี่ดีเลยนาโอเคแล้วก็เจสยังเป็นสเกลหรือว่าสปอนก็ได้ครับแล้วแต่ว่าจะหยิบตัวสุดท้ายไปอะไรถ้าหยิบนาฟิลี่มาก็ไม่แปลกใจ
The read here was jungle bans, and I don't think they really got anything out of it.
แล้วกดอากาลีกลางก็ให้สปอนครับ ตรงนี้ถ้าเกิดจะเอาดีสุดที่ว่าต้องกาลิโอไม่ก็ทวิตเตอร์เฟดมีกาลิโอกับทวิตเตอร์เฟดหรือว่าซินด้าแต่ซินด้าระยะไม่น่าถึงต้องกาลิโอทวิตเตอร์เฟดว่ะ
I don't think the Anivia is necessarily what he's looking at here, but it could work in this draft, I suppose.Might be an option. Twisted Fate. I mean, that's a classic. The golden Akali button.
ถือว่าพี่ก็เป็นดับได้เหมือนกันนะพี่ก็เอาเรื่องนะ
It's going to be pretty high in this draft.
ก็เป็นทวิตเตอร์เฟดครับ
Does mean that they don't have a lot of magic damage, as Twisted Fate isn't exactly oozing damage, but they do have a 1-3-1 win condition that is pretty difficult to deal with. The culling as well in a pinch can clear out waves and things like that, so you can set yourselves up pretty well. I think if you 1-3-1.
ดึงหน้าเป็นจังหวะ
If you get ahead, you are in a phenomenal position as Nongshim Red Force here. And you have the Gnar into the Zahin, you have the Jace, which is going to make anyone's life miserable. All he has to do to gank, by the way, is just drop an Empowered Shock Blast. That connects. It's like, all right, cool. I'm moving on. I have Insane Clear. I can do whatever I want. And so the situation is very good for them in this draft. But I'm kind of wondering now, like, how do you play this Twisted Fate composition? Like, you need to control sides. You need to control the Akali early. It's one of Showmaker's best. Obviously, he has a skin on this. You have the Vi. The setup is there to burst with Lucian, but Smash cannot get caught. They need to hold on to lead. They need to hold on to map control.
Well, see how it does go, as ladies and gentlemen, game number 3 between DK and
คือ
Nongshim.
มันต้องเป็นตัวที่แบบเปิดเอาไว้ได้แล้วแบบเปิดคือไฟของไอ้หมอกของอากาลีก็วิดเฟกก็เห็นหมดด้วยแล้วตรงกลางตัวที่เคาน์เตอร์อากาลีแม่งคือทวิตเตอร์เฟสไหมแต่ทวิตเตอร์เฟสจะไม่ใช่ทวิตเตอร์เฟสแบบ ADC จะเป็นเวท
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for our final game of the series. Still, of course, one more waiting. The DN Supers versus DRX coming up after this. But first, you have to see who's going to win between Nongshim and DK.
Nongshim ชนะครับจะได้หาแต้มให้กับกุบาลอนนะสัปดาห์สุดท้ายนี่เราจะมันๆเลยนะอันนี้ไม่ดีปาไพ่ไม่ดีแต่ว่าไม่คิดว่าพี่คิดว่าโชเมเกอร์ไม่คิดว่าเขาจะอัพอีมาด้วย
and try to get as much damage done as possible. He went unsealed spellbook.
คิดว่าอัพคิวมาอะไร
incredibly common on Twisted Fate. There's a lot of different summoner spells he's going to get value out of, and he has his ultimate is practically a teleport. So there's a lot of different setups you can use with it as well.
วิเตอร์เฟสฟินฮันเตอร์ไปลองมาแล้วไม่ค่อยรู้สึกว่าเวิร์กเท่าไหร่เวทดีกว่าเยอะเลยเอาจริงเวทแล้วออกเป็นดัสแอนดอร์ก็ไม่ได้แย่นะวิเตอร์เฟสไม่แย่แต่ไม่ค่อยดี
As Nongshim, what are we doing here? This is kind of crazy. They're underneath the turret. Lehens is dead, but so is Smash. And so they deny so much of the farm.
It ends up being pretty worth here, ultimately. He's going to put him in a significant CS advantage. They also get first blood. So that absolutely works out. They bail out all in. Pretty common to see. And, you know, there's not really much outplay there, frankly. For Smash and Career.
แล้วน่าจะในเลนน่าจะแบบรู้แล้วว่าเขามีบาเรีย
Smash and Career just like, all right, how many mains can we get? Can we get level 2? Can we get level 2 in time? Lehens uses the bailout, and the Rend comes through. Taeyun walks out.
Yeah, so that is money onto the Eddie carry. There was
the kill
traded back for Smash. It's not like Korea picked it up, so could have been worse for DK, but it is still definitely bad, as this bottom lane was going to be a huge point of power here for Nongshim. That's only been confirmed. We can't necessarily see it in the gold or anything like that, but the advantage that Taeyun has is certainly high. Shock Blast is going to connect at his Sponge's first gank, as we could see there. And Lucid now going to be moving on over. And Sponge is just going to push him out of the area, and it looks like Lucid is just going to say, all right, I will be leaving. Top lane scuttle, he could go towards. That is, I assume, where Nongshim think he's going, but he has moved down towards the bottom side and is actually just going to be recalling.
แต่ว่าแบบอันนี้คือสปอนซื้อแบบกล่าวว่าแบบ
Let's see what Sponge can get done here with this Jace pick. Has been terrorizing everyone.
เก็บเฟิร์สไตล์เงี้ยแชท
There's the shock.
แล้วก็วาร์ป
Yep.
เนี่ยมาทำอย่างเงี้ย
In a one lane,
แต่ว่า
a lot of control.
สปอนตะกี้
Not in terms of the lane is over, but in terms
ไม่
of
ได้
the
สลับ
current push and
ไม่ดีเท่าไหร่
currently winning the lane.
คือ
I mean, that
ยิง
extra
ปุ๊บแล้ว
damage
ต้อง
is
สลับ
going to
เล
be
ย
pretty significant.
สลับเป็นตีใกล้แล้วมันจะกลายเป็นผลของตีใกล้
On the top side is Xiu is not enjoying the early game in this matchup, as Zion doesn't enjoy most ranged matchups.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a tough time here. as the boomerangs are being very frustrating. Will be able to get himself this
โมบ้ามันต้องแบบนี้แหละ
siege
ตัด
minion
เวล
though,
ทัมมิ่ง
and
มาโค
level
น
5 helps
คือ
top up that health bar just a little bit.
มันแล้วแต่คนชอบ
You
เดี
can
ยว
see it's a little bit of an
เหมือน
advantage here
มัน
for
จะ
King
พูด
as
แบบ
far
เดียวกัน
as
เลย
gold, but
เหมือนกับ
big
ดอท
one
ที่แบบเกม
is
มัน
Sponge as
เป็นชั่วโมง
Aquaprison
เนี่ย
is
แล้ว
going
แต่
to
คน
connect
ชอบ
a fair
แหละ
bit of damage onto the hens.
แต่คนชอบมันก็จะเริ่มเป็นเฉพาะกลุ่มไงเพราะว่าคือคนส่วนใหญ่บางทีแบบ
Smash has barrier.
พอเล่นเกมสั้นมาเขาเจอเกมยาวเขาจะ
I don't think they
ไม่
can
ชิน
make
เลย
anything
ว่ะ
of this.
ไม่ช
Reds
อบ
will be
อะไร
able to
เงี้ย
channel this back and get away.
แต่เพราะว่าเราไปเล่น
Very
เกม
scary
สั้น
moment
ก่อน
there,
ไง
but gets to
มัน
hold
ก็
on
เลย
to
แบ
the
บ
lead for now.
อย่างนั้น
Yeah,
ได้
that is.
Showmaker does have his catalyst done, so he's
ก็
feeling
คือ
pretty safe here in this mid lane.
Hen's trying to bait something. He
มัน
still
อาจจะ
has
กลายเป็นว่า
bailout,
เก
by
ม
the way,
เกมที่
so
โมบ้าที่เล่นยาวๆมันอาจจะกลายเป็นเฉพาะกลุ่มหมายถึงว่ากลุ่มคนกลุ่มใหม่ก็จะเล่นเป็นโมบ้าระยะสั้น
Yeah, there is
Game
Smash not
level.
going to get hit by the logistics
แบบ 15 นาที
protocol,
รู้เรื่อง
as Nongshim not going to push their luck any
ทำไม
further.
แบนมอลไฟกันเยอะ
Just go
จัง
for a little bit of a reset as
เอิ่
Smash and Korea
ม
have been
คือ
able
แบ
to
นมอล
somewhat
ไฟเพื่อจะ
stabilize
เลือก
in
เจ
this
ส
lane,
ด้วย
only
ส่วน
about
ห
a
นึ่งครับ
wave
เพราะว่า
behind
เจส
for
เนี่ย
the
ถ้ามันไป
moment.
เจอมอลไฟป่ามัน
now this game is really
มันเป็น
going
ตัว
to
เคาน์เตอ
open
ร์โดยธรรม
up
ชาติ
when
อะ
Lucid
เจส
and
มันโดน
Showmaker
แบบ
get their ultimates 4D
มัน
plus.
ตายเลย
Because otherwise just kind of
แต่จริงๆพี่ว่าเจส
generating
มันก็สู้ได้นะ
passive
ถ้าสมมติว่ามันแบบ
with his passive
เ
over Scout
มีเอทออฟ
and
ไนท์มันก็พอไหว
you
นะ
know, the rest of
ไม่
the
กลัว
map
อยู่แล้ว
kind of Nongshim favored, right? Nongshim have the Gnar advantage on the top side, as you guys can see here, even Mega being utilized to grab this first plate. And then in the bottom lane, we see that Renata trade has really favored Nongshim, and they've been able to maintain an advantage there. We'll grab this first dragon. So for D+, they're on the back foot technically, but they're kind of supposed to be for right now. We'll see what happens again when those ults come online, how they can coordinate team fights and single target CC and the blow-up damage that Smash holds. Because if they can get him ahead, he gets his first item online, starts farming, starts pushing the Kalista out of the mid lane, and D+ have a real fighting chance in this game. I'm not 100% sold on this strat for D+. It feels very
Wow, โยนสวยจัง
freestyle. Yeah, but they kind of got something in the end.
Oh, Bubble going to go wide here as we
ไม่
got
รับ
the Jace moving down. Smash
เป็นไง
taking
แคท
so much damage as
แรงไหม
that shock blast connects, but they're not quite able to lock him down. So DK, they will get the flash out of Korea.
แนววนมารอบหนึ่งแล้ว
Otherwise,
ทำอย่างเงี้ย
not
แล้วก็
too
แบบ
much more.
ไม่ต้องแกงก็ได้
Nongshim
เลนแม่งก็
really
คือ
putting the
กึ่ง
pressure
ระเบิด
on
แล้ว
in this early game, but haven't been able to translate that into a gold advantage just yet.
Yeah, that's not quite, but always threatening. Level 6 on the horizon here for Lucid, as he is looking for that scuttle on the top side. The rest of his jungle is spawning, as well as blue buff just came up. Yep, so he'll have level 6. Showmaker has his, obviously, as well. And you can see Kingen is playing back defensively now. And he picked up a cull. Kind of knows that his early game is poke and chunk with hyperprocs into this Zahin, and then once the ults come through, he's just going to play a little bit slow to be a secondary 80 carry threat really later on in the game, as well as additional follow-up CC.
Yep, there's an R into the wall, as Shiu, of course, does have his passive, so he's going to be fine. But still, this is... We know that Zahin can really get some stuff done in later game team fights. We've seen it already utilized. I believe Kingen actually had a pretty good performance on the champion last week. So we'll see whether Shiu can do a similar thing here, as has been able to pick up some control of the wave, at least for the moment. Cull buy for Kingen means that he is just happy to sit back and farm and make things happen later on into the game. There's a bit of a ping onto Scout. Cease and desist is now available for Lucid. And so Showmaker moving up the lane, might be baiting something here as he does lock the gold card.
And Scout
สบายๆครับ
is going to
ชู
hold
เม
his
เกอ
ground.
ร์ฟาร์มแล้วก็
That's the end of that for now.
อุ๊ยโดน
Oh,
Okay,
Sponge.
here we go.
You can see him. Shock Blast going to connect.
That's all you got to do.
Yep. Once again, it is just more
เสียดาย
money.
ว่ะ
And
ไม่ได้
with first strike
ไม่ได้
there,
ปรับ
I
เป็นตี
mean,
ใกล้
every time these shock blasts land, Sponge is just walking away
It's-
that little bit richer.
It's crazy how accurate, you know, these players are after playing, you know, Jace has not really been played in the jungle for a really long time. As Hens and Taven looking for something. Yeah, not going to happen. Ward going to go down. I was going to say, like, we've doubled the Korean Jaces, at least. You know, we're close, because there's a lot of mid-Korean Jaces as well, but we have added a significant, at least 50% more Korean Jaces to the pool.
There are a lot of them.
And they hit those shock blasts. They're pretty good at the mechanics.
And we did have Lucid down towards that bottom side when both of the level 6s were hit by Nongshim in that bottom lane. I got a little bit worried that we'd have a little bit of a fight as Destiny to come forward here from Showmaker, who just throws out a gold card and doesn't find too much more. Kingen hops away, And that is all she wrote on that one. So first Destiny not exactly finding any joy.
That was super awkward because Showmaker has a whole wave to catch, but the grubs are being taken. Prio in mid and top side, and the bottom lane is still Nongshim controlled. Nongshim are really starting to pull ahead now.
Well, Lucid will be able to steal away one of the grubs. That is something. As Smash trying to get some work done. Hostile takeover comes in, and Smash can help take down Korea. That is going to be the pulled out in Taeun, going up to 2 and 0. Cease and desist in the meantime, though, onto Sponge. A lot of damage there as the burst is enough to take him out. Shia now looking to move on over as Kingen wants to get involved in the fight, as there is this, not the supreme display, the perfect execution from Scout, but he will be going down, and Lucid somehow survives as Kingen not able to get his boomerang to go far enough, and now Shia able to dash over that wall. Showmaker does still have the flash, and he flashes over the boomerang to lock down Kingen and take him out.
Certainly a big sigh of relief for D+ fans after that one. A huge win on the top side of the map after this 2v2 goes awry. Smash drops his ultimate out. It's avoided entirely by Fate's call. Then the handshake comes through. Follow flash here. Not really going to be too impactful, but it's enough to get Taeun in there. Smash has no mana. And then watch how this fight breaks out. Initially it looks like, okay, they've got this under control.
Okay, that's why
D+. The ult comes through from Lucid. And instantly Sponge is deleted. He's not very tanky. He's on the Jace, right? But Lucid shield here. Flash as well. Just enough. Just enough. Man. Scout just cannot take him out. King cannot close the gap, but he's chased so far in order to try to do so that he ends up going down as well. I believe D+ got 2 of the 3 grubs. Showmaker flashes the boomerang so he doesn't get slowed. Takes him out there, picks up all that extra gold. Let's take a look at the grubs. Yeah, 2 of the 3 in D+'s favor now. Keeping the gold close. Desperately needed team fight.
Absolutely. They're not out of the woods just yet. As Lucid moves on over, does get spotted by that Sentinel. And Sponge is going to move in. Gets a bit more money as the culling goes largely to Narnia. And DK will just have to try and be wary of Nongshim in the area. So much vision here towards this bottom side. Second dragon is now available as well. It's likely that Nongshim can head over there and lock that one down as Lucid.
แต่ว่าพี่ว่ามันเหมาะกับพวกแมตช์กับอาริสตาซัพพอร์ตนอเตลูสเวลซัพพอร์ตอะไรเงี้ยตัวเปิดที่มันเป็นอย่างนั้นนะตอนนี้มีปัญหาตรงที่ว่าแบบเป็นอย่างนั้นมันไม่ได้มีเชื่อแล้วแต่ไม่ไหวตาย2 ครับ
Yeah, very clean setup again from D+. Really not much that could have been done there once the initial salvo comes through. This combo incredibly said it for years.
Oh, ulti comes down here for Sheer, but Kingen just does the walk strategy to get out of the way.
Little emote to remind everyone that he was hoping that one a little bit different. Yeah, Scout on a flank here, but I don't know if he could really accomplish much. Hoping for the shock blast, I suppose. Follow up.
Yeah, does manage to find Shuriken backflip there, but Lucid is.
สปอนยิงไม่โดนตอนช็อตแบบ
and he just gets himself over the wall.
ช็อตที่ต้องยิงให้โดนอ่ะ
The main part of the story is 3-0-2 here for Showmaker. This guy is now gigantic.
He's got his Dark Seal.
Yeah, and also a cheeky blasting wand and an amp tome on top of the fact that Rod of Ages is already complete.
Look at this setup here. Lucid gets hand shook back, doesn't care. Showmaker has the gold card, and they just have everything. Like, they have the tidal wave coming through, the gold card to set it up.
And it was max value for everything in that moment as well, as now gold card onto Scout. Lucid once again going to catch him gorgeously with the Vault Breaker, but this time, he's going to go down, but it's a trade 1-for-1, and now Sponge having to run away. Thankfully, there was control of the top lane, so Sheer wasn't making his way down, as now Korea looking for an angle.
แต่ว่า Showmaker รวยจัด
gets his health back up again, but you can see that health bar is not exactly the largest as a whole, so Nongshim still with a fair bit of control.
แล้วอากาลีไปเจอกับวายมันอย่างที่เห็นนะครับพุ่งเข้าไปปุ๊บแล้วโดนวายต่อยสวนเข้ามา
is getting bigger and bigger, and obviously with the passive he is going to just be so huge, and when his rod completes he is going to have another spike there as well. Bit of an opportunity here potentially for an all-in on either side. Lehenz's handshake is really the first ability that has to hit for Nongshim, and if it misses, D+ will definitely follow up here with the tidal wave backup. Showmaker gets almost the entire turret.
kind of ridiculous, the amount that they had there, as Shiu gets the pullback. There's the ulti. This time King is not able to avoid it as Sponge is moving up, but there's the kill solo for Shiu, and Sponge doesn't want anything of it. Relentless pursuit to get out of the way of Lahan's toss-out takeover comes in, but it's another wave, and this time it's from Career as Taeun does manage to dodge out of the way. He's got the bailout, but it is not going to be enough.
GG
And
ว่ะ
it's a 2v2 win for the Lucian Nami in the bottom lane.
All right, big wins here for D+ now on both sides of
โด
the
น
map
ดึง
at
เว้ย
the
คิง
same
เงินแล้วไม่มีแฟ
time.
ด
And it's the Zahan
เพราะว่าแฟดหนี
angle
ตายไป
here. On the top side, well, we'll start off with this play first, where Sponge ends up getting caught. Sponge is super
แล้ว First Time ไม่ได้ใช้
squishy,
แบบนี้
obviously, on this champ, but can buy some space with the hammer as we're not done yet.
Yeah, Smash is dead, ladies and gentlemen. There is the Hammer to the Skies.
อ้าว
A
ระวังบ้างกันเย
teleport
อะเลย
came in from Kingen as well. Smash was very dead.
He is certainly in the death chamber now. Anyway, that last skirmish ended up going pretty well for Showmaker, and Lucid once again bought a ton of time. Still a kill went over to Scout, but he did his job incredibly well. And, you know, they get the kill with the Zahan on the top side. Kingen didn't have flash, has it now, but gets flashed on by Shiu. Well, he doesn't have it. So he ends up picking up a 600 gold lead. And this Gunblade looks really cool. We all love Gunblade, you know, all waiting for it to come back. But the curve of this game, it's feeling like that second item. Plus the rod, plus 10 stacks of Dark Seal. The Gunblade looking like it's not too sharp. Maybe it doesn't have ammo.
I think if there was only one item on his opposition, it could be fine. However, there is not quite parity between our mid laners in this game. Of course, cheating a little bit is the Twisted Fate, as he does like to print a bit of money, but this is looking dire, and especially with the Lich Bane coming in as item number 2, that is a lot of damage potential here in side lanes for the Twisted Fate, as Lucid is going to push Sponge away. The gate had come on
กูได้
forward.
เฟส2ชิ้นแบบรวย
And
จัด
Showmaker spotted on that ward, so not going to hit those
แรง
wild
มา
cards.
ก
Now Career takes a large amount of damage from Sponge. Is this going to be once again the Malphite situation where the champion gets banned all the time and whenever it gets played it loses?
Well, the game state looks like that might be where we're headed, although it has made a huge impact. Like,
เห็นปะพอ2ชิ้นแล้วเก่ง
he's
เลย
not winning the game, and
Opportunity
you're
กับ
correct in that one so far.
กับ
Like,
โย
the
มัว
game is not looking like it's in a very one position by Nongshim, but every time he hits an empowered shock blast, I'm like, yeah, I see what that's banned.
แต่ต้องมาลองเล่นจริงเพราะว่าเวลาที่เราซื้อพวกแบบไอ้พวกแบบไอ้ลิตอริตี้แล้วลองไปฟาร์มมินเนี่ยนไอ้มอนสเตอร์ป่าดูอะมันตีรู้สึกว่ามันฟาร์มเร็วมากเลย
You know, his losses look pretty bad. Like, ooh, I don't
มัน
know if
ฟาร์ม
this
แบบ
does
ไว
anything.
มาก
Well,
ไว
this
กว่าไอเทม
feel
ดาเมจ
like
อื่น
It's doing a lot even in a negative game state. Let's
เปิ
see
ด
if
อั
he
น
can
นี้
do a
ไม่
lot in
ส
this
วยอ
fight.
ย่างมาก
Yeah, Smash getting so much work done as there's the tidal wave to get a massive amount of value itself. Fate's Call does come in to keep Lands alive as the bailout is not enough. And it's 2 for Smash. He does get taken out here by Scout though. The perfect execution is pretty good, but Showmaker finds the gold card, and Shiu is going to be able to find the kill. As Scout's out of buttons and out of chances. King in there on the bottom side, trying to get something back,
เงีย
but
น
it's
จนนะ
another
ดิก็
one
เลยแบ
team
บไปเล่น
fight
ด้วย
for
ไม่ได้
DK.
Yeah, DK picking up 4 on this one, putting their gold lead into 3,000. Sponge was able to secure the smite on this Herald, but otherwise wasn't really able to do a whole lot. Easy initial target here. Offers some damage back onto Lucid, but there's just so much free space for this Lucian pick. Scout is able to take him out ultimately in the end and also gets his flash, but he has to give his life for it. So feels like, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Rocking a hard place. So, you know, one of those buzzwords. Oh, I got him, but does not necessarily really feel like a good
Nhìn đồ
thing.
lao.
King in here desperate now on the 1v2.
Yeah, Gold Card gonna get the flash out for it, and a point-blank culling from Smash. Try and lock down King, and he's very dead. That's gonna be the kill over to Showmaker thanks to the Lich Bane. As Nongshim looking for the cross map here in the mid lane, they should be able to get it with the help of the Rift Herald.
ไม่ได้อีกแล้ว
It's now down exceptionally low. Turret will be taken, but now
เฮ้ย
Shiu
ไฟ
is in
ข้างหลัง
for the wrap around, looking for that angle. Try and take down Nongshim, but I think DK have decided against it.
Well, I mean,
ดู
if
ลู
there's a
ซิด
push
ดี
up
เจ็บ
from
หนัก
Smash,
เลย
they certainly could try to make something of this, but instead he's just going to say, you know what, back away. I'm going to grab plate gold. She will not follow the order to back away, in fact.
Well, the rest of the team are making their way over. There's the
Oh,
knockup
anti-
with the
also.
help of the tidal wave
Talia.
and with Shiu there with the passive. And they will be able to put Lahans in the bubble. They take him down, and now Lucid is fighting the rest of them. And this time he's going to stay alive. Ulti comes forward from Shiu. But Sponge, oh no, the gold card, and that's going to spell his demise. 2-0-5 now for the Zahan, but 8-0-5 for Showmaker on the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, Showmaker, I mean, when you see that damage hit, the chunks are huge. Like, he is actually so fed you can basically just clear waves instantly as well. So he is just going to be able to freely push sides, which he's been doing so much of. By the way, they won that fight in that
แล้ว
skirmish
อา
without
กา
his
ลีเล่น
ultimate
ลำบาก
zone
ด้วยเวลา
line
ที่แบบ
now. And
เจออันติ
people
ตัว
see
ไม่
it
ได้เฟด
collapse onto. I mean, look at this damage already. Scout has Merc
ludicrous.
treads. Tier 3.
Well, there is the destiny once again.
มีอีก
Spots where everyone's
TP
going,
ซ้อนเลยว่ะ
gets
คิงเงิน
teleport out and says, all right, Kingen, welcome to the lane. I will back away.
I think Showmaker found the pick today.
I
to
think
pop
so.
off on. You know,
I think
ชิ้น
he
สามอะ
knows
ถ้าเกิด
this
เจ
one.
จะเอาแบบ
This one we've got some experience.
เอาแรงเอาพี่ว่าแรงไปเลยดีกว่า แบบซิลิวด้าอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเลย ถ้าขึ้นเอ็ดออฟไนท์พี่ว่าแม่งก็ดีแต่ว่ามันก็ไม่ได้รู้สึกว่าจะเก่งขึ้นเท่าไหร่
I mean, Smash, like he is so good at Lucian's, been one of his best picks, and you know, career like Sadami, as we've pointed out multiple times.
เห็นละ
Shiu
is
is going to
very alone.
struggle to hold on to his passive, I think, in this
โคตร
play. Let's
เหี้ยเลย
see
ช็อกบา
how
ร์
he can actually do, and
ไม่
it
เป็นไร
looks like he's not going to be able to offer anything back. Down he will go,
Let's see what
and
the
didn't
trade
actually
is.
have the passive.
แต่ว่าไม่ใช่ว่าคุยที่ข้อเที่ยแหละแต่คือแบบว่ามันแบบ
Let's see if they can
เขายิง
get
ดัก
this
เผื่อแบบ
turret here,
เขาพุ่ง
maybe
มาด้านหลัง
some plates and a mid inner
แต่มัน
turret.
ก็ตาบอด
I
ได้
still
อยู่
think they quite have the
ในการ
weight
ดัก
here
ดัก
mid.
แฟดดักอะไร
They can
ดัก
buy some
ท่า
time.
แบบ
Showmaker will start to really hit hard on that top lane. He's got the Lich Bane. Look at how quickly that turret went down to one plate. He is so huge, 4,000 gold ahead. I mean, there's not much to say about this game except Showmaker big.
คือเราก็ไม่ได้เล่นในแรงสูงมากเนาะเราเฮ้ยทำไมไม่ยิงตรงๆวะคือแต่พวกแรงสูงมันจะแบบยิงตรงๆไม่เคยโดนอยู่แล้วมันต้องยิงแบบเผื่อเป็นเขาแดชกลับมาเพราะเขารอที่จะแดชหนีอยู่แล้ว
Isn't ahead and has a big problem in this massive twisted fate, which when Showmaker buys Magi's, his win rate's got to be like over 95%. I know I always talk about this, but like it just ends up being true. But
Lucid is the same
แต่ตอนนี้
level as Scout. This is kind of ridiculous.
Scout.
โชว์เมเกอร์80ทำไงดี
Cease and desist will come on forward. And yeah, I don't think the execution is all that perfect. And Showmaker is going to pick it up. That's a Lich Bane proc, and that is a dead Akali. As the rest of
และ
DK
ลง
now
กลางอีก
looking
ครับ
for
ผ
an
ม
angle.
เฮ้ย
The
ไม่ลง
Destiny
หา
of
ส
the
ปอน
game.
ว่ะ
That's what's coming on forward here as they're looking to lock down Sponge before anything else happens. As Taeun might be able to take down Smash, and he does. Hostile takeover is going to connect, but she was still so dangerous. There is the knock up, and the bailout
อ๋อ knock up พอดี
is not going to do anything at all. It's the Nami that locks up
สู้
Taeun.
ไม่ครบอีกแล้วอ่ะ
Is now in no man's land. Kingen still hasn't really been involved in too much so far this game, but does manage to at least
เป็
get
น
a
เกม
wave
ที่
shot
นง
in.
ชิมก็ต้อง
And
หนี
there's the
แบบ
pullback. She is going to be able to lock down
หนี
the
ฟาร์ม
Renata.
แล้วก็
And ladies and
ไม่
gentlemen,
ทีมไฟท์ทีม
this
ไฟท์สู้
game
ไม่ได้
is
Yes.
really running away from Nongshim.
It's starting to feel like this one is just locked up.
It's also our third Ocean Soul in a
Yeah,
row.
I know. I didn't want to talk about it, but it's
That's too many Oceans.
very boring. There's a lot of CC in D+'s comp, and it all links together, right? I mean, okay, ult him, gold card him, punch him, he's dead. Oh, what? Lich Bane proc. And then
It was Lich
คื
Bane
อ
and passive as well, so
when you look at
it's just very dead.
อาคาลีมันก็ต้องออกจากหมอกเลยอ่ะคือถ้าเกิดไม่ออกกลับไปที่หมอกก็คือเจอเปิดไฟเลย
Face call? Question mark? Handshake? Jace Hammer? Narvar? But Kingan's playing KDA Kingan in this one. He is not joining. He is not coming over with Nar. No setup. It's really easy for D+ to just walk around, pick people to kill, and press the buttons and kill them. Taeun has done a lot of damage this game, but how much of that damage is really effective damage in team fights when we're not seeing team
แต่ว่าอา
fights?
คาลีดูจะ
It's the real question.
มา
Not seeing much of it.
2 ชิ้นก็
As
ถือว่า
Nongshim will at
แรง
least be
แล้ว
able to get this wave shoved in. The Baron has spawned a couple of minutes ago.
แต่รู้สึกน่ารำคาญมากเลยตัวนี้ก็เป็นตัวซิกเนเจอร์แบบเล่น
As
ดี
they
ด้วย
do at least have vision control around the area. 1-3-1, certainly an availability here for DK, especially with the advantage that they have with how strong this Zahin is. Shiu is pretty scary at the minute. As Showmaker moves up towards the top side using the Destiny, I believe, just to get a little bit more information. And the rest of DK now looking for an angle here as Lahens tanks up the culling for Taeun. Still, it's a lot of damage from this Lucian with 3 items almost complete. Tidal Wave comes down. Fate's Call has to be used defensively as the bubble was looking to try and catch Lahens out of the air, but it does not quite work that way. And
แบบนี้เจต้องปล่อย
still just backing away as
คือ
DK move further and further towards their base. Yes, Korea takes a lot of damage from Shock Blast, but the problem is not a lot of it's really sticking.
Yeah, it's like a
พี่
lot of
ว่า
shot
ไอ
blast
ช็อต
damage, a
กราฟ
lot
ประ
of
ฝืน
Taeun damage up
แล้วมัน
front.
ทำให้แบบมัน
But they
เป๋
just
เว้ย
have too many ways
ถ้า
to
กราฟ
kill
ไม่ฝืน
targets
อะ
outside
ได้
of
2 ตัวแล้วเดินหนีไปด้านบนเลย
body
อะ
vibes that
ไม่
we
ไฟ
aren't
อะตรงนั้นนะ
doing that.
สเกลไม่ตาย คิงเงินไม่ตายคือไม่ตาย3ตัวตรงนั้นนะแล้วโชว์เมเกอร์มันจะไม่รวยขนาดนี้เว้ย
It's a bit of a
แต่อันนั้นนะเหมือนกับว่ามั่นใจมากไงว่าแบบ
Sometimes they just
ได้
wanna go
วาย
on a
เขาถอย
merry
เราก็เอา
jaunt
เป็น3ตัวดีเรียบร้อยเลย
sometimes Baron has
คือ
spawned.
ลูซิดจะทำเป็นเดินถอยแล้วแบบ
It's
พ
a
อ
2.5 item
เขาเอา
Lucian
ต่อ
when he
ก็
hits
แบบ
his IE. I think they
ก็
can
ค่อยบวก
really take that
แล้ว
back
มาจริงครับ
quick.
เป็นสริลดา
But at
จริง
this
ครับ
point,
ถ้าขึ้นเอ
Takluz
ดับไนท์พี่ว่า
specific
ไม่เก่ง
comp. Sure, they can
Sliu
see
Da
the
ดูจะ
rotations
ดูจะ
coming
ดี
with
กว่า
the ultimate, but they don't have that right now. They're just playing it safe. They have such a lead. There's no reason to put all of your eggs in the Baron basket here and potentially allow Nongshim to come back. That's 4,000 gold over Smash, who was the second highest in the game, as the
And
carries are online.
5,100 ahead of Scout. That is a lot of extra items that we can see. It's only 2 that have been built here.
And
โอ้
both
พ
of
ลอย
them
ต้องปล่อย
are,
ไปก่อน
very gold effective. I mean, the arm guard is expensive, but it can literally save your life and give you.
I mean, it's basically a Zonya's, right?
Yeah, and then the Majai's Soul Stealer at 14 stacks is a bargain. As Nongshim are just gonna take their own desperation Baron here and say, look, you'll have to 5v5 us if all 5 of us on this Baron. So come and do it.
Destiny comes in, spots King and
ไม่
looking
ถอย
for
เรียบร้อย
Showmaker
ที่สี่
here.
แล้ว
Does get on top of him as the rest of DK are going to show up. Lucid gets into the pit, a teleport forward from the Zion as well as Sponge takes so much damage from that culling. Hostile takeover does absolutely nothing at all as the follow is fantastic. Lucid goes in, just punches Renata to death. And Taeun then has no option. He did have the bailout running, but it's not actually going to do anything at all. It's a double kill here for the jungler from DK. Sponge going to go down as Korea finishes him off. And Kingen versus Showmaker wasn't looking great for Kingen on the outset, and now Shiu's going to show up as well. There is the gold card, and down will go the Nah. That's
เหมือน
Baron.
เกมนี้มัน
That's
สโน
a
ว์บอล
clean
แรงอะ
ace
ถ้า
of
เกิดตาย
DK.
เยอะๆมันไม่ได้เลย
They're
อะ
looking
เหมือน
like
มัน
they'll
แพท
get
เนี่ย
revenge after game 2.
Does
จำ
look
วัน
that
ที่
way.
ที่วัน
It was pretty cute to see King and get the Sterak shield, and then yeah, he knew his TP was gonna get after him.
ไปได้พลาดข้างล่างได้ปะ
As watch King in the beginning of the
แล้ว
fight,
มัน
he
ก็
just
แบบ
zones Showmaker away.
รี
He has
ว
a
อร์ด
Snowball
แบ
in
บ
a pretty good spot. If he's able to maybe come
คือ
over
เฟก
and
เกอร์
impact
ต้อง
this way
วิ่ง
with
หนี
Nonbar, but that's desperation.
โดรานต้องหนี
The
รัว
desperation fight here for Nongshim requires engage, and like
ๆสุดท้ายก็
they don't
กลับ
have
มา
any
ไม่
ways to
ได้
lock down these
คือกลับมาได้
threats,
แต่ว่าสุดท้ายก็
it's just Taeun who
เสีย
dies as
เท
they
มโปไปเยอะ
desperately
มากจน
try
มัน
to get
กลับ
something
มาไม่ไหว
done without any CC.
อันนี้ก็คือแบบหาแบบจุดเทิร์นพอยต์ไม่ได้เลย
I really like you see the shield into the other shield. It's like, well,
Yep.
야 금세야 앞으로 뚫는 판단
Great job, team.
다 잘했다.
That was really good, Showmaker. This is how you use coach voice, by the way. You just wait until the game is basically over, and then you call them and let them know that they've done a great job. I said Smash, really good job there as well, dashing forward, playing
ออกเจ็ต
aggressively.
ทีปอะ
And DK definitely have.
มันกลับไปเล่นแบบเดิมแล้วอะคือมันมีบาลอนตัวเดียวที่แบบพอจะเอายากอะที่เหลือพี่ว่าเอาได้ง่ายหมดเลย มันเลยจุดคัมแบ็กมันเลยยากนิดนึงอะเพราะว่าต้องไปวัดกันที่บาลอน เมื่อก่อนมันจะมีแบบ
is there a
อัตา
chance
คาร
he
มา
can
แบบว่า
fully stack this Majai's?
ได้มีช็อตเทิร์นแบ็กอัตาคารหน่อยอะไรเงี้ย
Probably will. As now Culling just looking to try and kill Sponge. It almost does.
แต่อันนี้คือถ้าเขาไม่เปิดบาลอนแล้วเขาดันไล่จับไปเลยเขาก็แบบก็ชิว
Well, Shuriken backflip, not really doing too much here as, yeah, Inhibitor turret will go down. Kingen looks for the angle with the ulti, but Shiu is just going to shrug that one off. And 2-level advantage here for the top laner as well. I mean, this game is very much out of Nongshim's hands now. It's going to require a big mistake here from DK. As Lucid, not going to let that one happen as Shiu decides to dash in. Let's see what they can actually find. Double pullback as the ulti comes down as well. The Destiny comes on in, and down will go the Nah. Scout looks for the back line, but Showmaker is going to try and hold him in position. And God, the damage is repugnant from DK. Another swift ace, and they will be walking away with another victory here in the LCK Cup.
Thank you, Nongshim, says Showmaker, for letting me
จ
put
บ
the
ละ
final pages in the book. The Death Note is
โอเคครับก็
complete.
เดี๋ยวจบคู่นี้ก็จะ
We'll
ขออนุญาตปิด
close
สตรีม
it
แล้วก็
out in a 2-1
ไปเกาหลง
fashion.
เกาหลี
Nongshim looking for the
เกา
sweep,
เห
but
ลา
they could not get any steam in that final game. Game 1, the closest of the 3, then we had 2 back-to-back slugfests where one team got massively ahead and overpowered
ไป
the
เกาเหลา
opposition.
กั
But
น
it
หน่
was
อย
all about Showmaker in the end. Career's Nami was really good.
Really good.
And I'm kind of like, I mean, was his Bard good enough for me to give him POM? I am giving some consideration to it right now.
I think it's a really difficult one because game number 1, that was a very hard one to
เดินทางปลอดภัยครับ
work
พี่
out.
ได้
I
ค
think
รับเดิน
Showmaker
ทางปลอด
was
ภัยครับ
great
พี่ขอบคุณครั
on the
บ
rise, but I think that
ขึ้
Korea
น
certainly stole a lot
เกา
of
หลี
the
ทัน
show
ทีไหม
and
หรือพักก่อน
Lucid looked absolutely
มันคืออะไรวะ
fantastic.
I think I have to give it to Lucid. I
ของ
really,
ฝาก
really
น้อง
wanted to give it
ข
to
อซุป
Career.
กิมจิ
Showmaker's Zoe performance, I mean, it
ที่
wasn't
ไทยก็มี
necessarily
I mean,
his fault,
it's going to be a Showmaker.
yeah, but I couldn't vote for it after like everything that happened in the grand scheme of things. But when Showmaker finishes Majai's, and
ขอ
close
ขึ้
the
นไล
series
ฟ์เหรอ
out.
แล้วพิมพ์ใน
We know at least where the bottom
Discord
row
แล้ว
is
ลอง
going.
ไปดูได้
Yeah, we definitely do.
ก็
And honestly,
จะ
I feel that, like,
วันแรกอาจจะมีช่วงตอนเย็นครับ
this is the thing. When Showmaker gets a vote, you're just never too upset about it.
สามแล้ว
I think
ที่
it's
ช
a
นะ
large reason why
DK
Chovy got a lot of votes because you're also not all that upset when Chovy gets them either. As Korea,
ช่วงตอนเย็นแบบว่า
fantastic
หลังจาก
game
ที่
today. Honestly, like looked
รัฐผม
really
อาจจะ
really good on the
ไม่ชัวร์
bar.
เขาให้เปล่า
And the Nami, as we've seen before, without
แล้วก็
aftershock,
แบบ
actually looking even better. It's crazy, isn't it, Wolf?
It is.
มันน่าจะ
You know,
ง่วงๆหน่อยๆอ่ะ
This
ไม่ค่อยอยากจะ
is a
แบบมันก็ไม่มี
D+
energy
that is climbing up the ladder. a
พอ
little
ไปถึง
bit.
ที่นู่น6 โมง
Toughest
เช้า
series so far.
ก็เลยคิดว่าแบบ
I think
ตอนเย็น
draft was their
ๆแบบ
biggest enemy
พอทุกอย่างมัน
in
เสร็จ
the
สิ้นหมดแล้ว
honest
มันก็จะชิวๆแล้วไง
It's a classic CV Max
ก็เดินแบบ
Yeah, but
เย็น
the game 3 draft worked out.
ติดลบ อากาศติดลบ
The
หน่อย
execution was good enough to back it up. But I think against Genji and T1, who are their final 2 opponents of this group battle, we're going to have to see perhaps a
ติด
little
ต
bit
ม
better
พี่อะ
planning.
พี่บอกว่ามาดู
Yes,
เฟ
that
เกอร์
one
แล้วจบเล
really
ย
did feel like I said freestyle. Felt like they just kind of threw it together at the end. They're like, Showmaker, you play Twisted Fate here? He's like, I play Twisted Fate anywhere. And then, you know, with all the single target blow up they had, they got a lead. This was a backbreaker, unfortunately, for Nongshim, as Scout's like, I got him!
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little unfortunate. Not quite able to finish it off there. As Showmaker here down towards his bottom side. This was the
โอเค
lane
ครับ
that Nongshim were
เมื่อวาน
actually
นี้
doing okay in. But you could see
เอาดู
like
นะครับ
every single
เจอกันทุก
time
ท่าน
the DK press
ขออนุญาต
in
ไปเลย
that
นะครับ
little
บ๊ายบาย
passage
ค
of
รับ
wave got maximum value. This
อ่ะ
tidal
เดี๋ยว
wave
จะซื้อ
as
ของมา
well.
ฝากครับแล้วก็ใครที่สนใจอยากจะเฮ้ยเสื้ออยากจะมีฝากซื้อเสื้ออะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็เดี๋ยวค่อยว่ากันครับ เดี๋ยวประกาศในเพจครับ เจอครับทุกคนบายครับเจอกันที่เกาหลีครับไปแล้วครับบายบายครับบ๊ายบุยบุยบุยบุยบุยบุยบุยเจอกันครับเฟเกอร์เขาน่าจะไม่ออกมาให้เซ็นนะ แต่พี่เอาเสื้อไปครับ